Hello, my Teaserking family. How the hell is everybody today? Hope you are all well. I am fine. Daria's got high blood pressure. Jenna's got a flu. What can we do? I spelled well with two E's. I don't think that counts. It's funny, they have it, and you know the high blood pressure is from sugar. She had her birthday. She had a cake. Gets high blood pressure. She says it's the weather. Does the weather give you high blood pressure? This I don't know. I don't think I was 180 over 140 because of the weather. Oh, the sugar. However, maybe it can be from the weather. Seems to be the same thing. Jenna says the same thing. It's the weather. Maybe the Russian doctors think it's the weather related. So, been to the pool. Got a little bit of groceries. I was running out of veggies. So I do a meat shop and a veggie shop. And so last Wednesday, I went to update my resume and do my insurance card because I knew I was going to have to get license tabs because my birthday's coming up. So I did the tabs the other day. And I went to get the tabs at the library last Wednesday, 21st. And I get my coat. It's cold out. I take my coat off to hang it on the seat, and then I can work on the computer without the coat. And it doesn't dawn on me when I go to the car that I'm cold, I guess, because I'm wearing like this. And then it gets warm out. It gets in the 50s and 70s, and I don't wear a coat for a week, so I don't look for my coat. When I'm leaving, I'm in sweats. It's 50 degrees out. I don't need a coat. So today it's cold out, and so I go look for my coat in the closet. It's not there. And now I'm thinking, did I leave it at the rib place, which was, I think, a few weeks ago? Chinese last night was horrible, but I don't think I wore a coat. And I would have noticed I didn't have the coat. So I concluded that I will start at the library, which is the last where it was cold. And I would have taken it off because I'm on the computer and I'm inside sitting. I'm going to take my coat off. Like when I go to a restaurant, you take your coat off, you sit down, you try to remember it on the way out. Hey, Greg and John. So I deducted I didn't think I wore it yesterday, and I didn't think I wore it this weekend. And I'm trying to think, well, where did I go out to eat? Which I didn't. When I go to the grocery store, I'm not taking my coat off. So I deducted by looking at my sent emails, because I sent my resume to myself also, that it might be at the library. Even though it was a week ago, it got warm. So that was the ironic part about it. Had it just been cold and stayed cold, the next day I would have went for my coat. It would have been not there. I would have said, oh, I was at the library yesterday, and I would have went right back. And it was in the lost and found. They did have it. Funny, being a government agency, I kind of knew they would have a lost and found. And so I deduct that there's no other place it can be. I didn't go, except for Chinese yesterday, but I knew I didn't wear my coat in a while. So I knew it was the last time I was cold. I wore a coat, and it made sense I would take it off working on the computer. And sure as shit, I go in, I go, you have a lost and found? There it was. Boom, there's my coat. So lesson learned. You try to backtrack. It was unusual circumstances in that it was cold Wednesday, I wear it for the library, and then Thursday and for the next week, it's in the 50s and 60s and 70s, where you don't need a coat. So you're not checking your closet for your coat because you don't need it. So it was really weird. So it'd been a week since I had wore it. And anyway, I got it, so I'm happy. Who needs to get a new coat now? I got a bunch, so there's no reason for a new one. Anyway, so with that said, that's why I'm a little late, and then I stopped for my veggies. And we can talk NFL draft. I thought I would talk more about football today. I mean, economics, all we can really do is wait. We know what's going to happen. We're at the Titanic. It's hit the iceberg. The water's coming in. We're in the lifeboat. How many times can we say, yeah, I think the boat's going to sink? I think the boat's going to sink. Yeah. And every half hour, Luke's going, when's the boat going to sink? So, little change of topic here. So there's a lot on this NFL draft combine. Who cares? TK, who is your number one pick? I'm my number one pick. It would be Bobby Bowe would be my number one pick in any sport. It wouldn't matter. Well, it depends on the team and the need. If I was the Bears and I thought Fields, I wasted that pick. Hey, Eric, how are you today? If I was the Bears and I already wasted the pick on Fields, but if I thought Fields was really good and I wanted to keep him, I would go after a killer defensive player, right? Who's the natural, that Kansas City defensive tackle who gets in the way of all the plays? I would go after a guy like that. Not a secondary guy. You know, if I could get a Lawrence Taylor type or Reggie White type, if they're out there, somebody from UCLA, somebody from Utah, that's probably where I would go. Oregon, one of those teams. I would avoid Michigan at all costs because they didn't play anybody. So I don't know how good their players are. That's why I would not take J.J. McCarthy. Maybe their running back, but the other running back, he hasn't played. He's on Tennessee for 2-3 years now. The guy hasn't touched the ball yet. I'm staying away from Michigan, guys. Actually drinking Diet Pepsi. I have a hankering for it today. I mean, once in a while, I don't care. So let's keep in mind the model that we build. Kansas City, very strong defense, great defensive tackle, great cornerbacks. You got a great defensive coordinator. Nobody could score on them. And you got Mahomes, Pacheco, and Kelsey. So what do I have on my team to get to that point? More than likely, I need defense because most of these teams suck defensively. If I have Fields, I got to trade them to get some of the defensive players, right? But I got to get a defensive coordinator who understands how to use his cornerbacks and his defensive line and how to blitz. So my first draft pick is going to be a defensive coordinator who plays under Spagnuolo, who understands that defense. Otherwise, we can't win. Well, I find the defensive coordinators are all they do is play cover two. They don't blitz. These quarterbacks run all over them. They're terrible. So with that said, my first pick's a good defensive coordinator. So I'm shopping Georgia and Iowa and Oregon, who got to Georgia, maybe the Alabama defensive coordinator, although I'm not a big Alabama guy. Iowa State. I'd draft Iowa. I would just get Iowa State's head coach. How nobody got that guy is unbelievable. Because what he does without talent, and he consistently beats Texas and Oklahoma and Kansas, or Kansas State with no talent. I mean, this is Iowa State talent, and he consistently beats Texas and Oklahoma, gets all the big talent. That's my coach. And then I run his defense. Now I go after players that will fit his system. But first thing, I need a quarterback. So if I need a quarterback, I got to take the kid from LSU or I got to take Bo Nix. Is sports betting legal in Michigan? Yes, it is, sir. I bet. Well, I use a bookie, so it doesn't matter. When I'm in Vegas, I'll bet at William Hill and get good odds. I'll never bet at MGM. I don't like these FanDuels, too public. There's too many things that I don't want people to know my business. What I bet in football is nobody's business. Now, you see it here on Teaserking. You see the history. But you got to be a member to see what the hell's going on, what I'm doing. No, Greg and John, I don't really pay any attention to the combine because I watch the regular season in college football. So I can tell you all about Oregon, LSU, Georgia, Alabama, the Big Ten, Kansas. Their tight end's name's Fairchild. I bet nobody drafts him. That guy's great. But that's what I will look at him in the game because this is bullshit watching a guy in a T-shirt running a 40-yard dash. What do I care about? I care about how quick he is. If he's an offensive player, he's a receiver, can he get open? Well, I already know. I saw him in college, right? If he's a running back, I already know the guy from Oak State is the best because I see him against Texas and Kansas State. So I already know he can do it. That's why you watch college. I can see the receivers great. And I don't need to see a what am I watching in a combine for? To see how fast he goes. What do I care? I saw him get open. The Washington receiver. The guy's great. I see him get open. The TCU guy last year. What the hell do I have to look at him in a combine for? He's playing other fast people. If it's Washington, he's playing Oregon. I know they got a great secondary, and if he's getting open against them, I ain't worried about a combine. I ain't worried about him in the NFL because these guys on Oregon are NFL players. So that's how I pick so good in college football, because I can tell talent. I see a game, I see a team, and I get it. Yeah, this guy's really good. Look at this defense. I mean, Georgia, we watched Georgia's defense shut out everybody. I get it. Draft any of them and then run the Georgia defense. Philly's got 6 Georgia defensive players on their team, and they're not running the Georgia defense. What the fuck are they doing? Why do you think they shut out everybody for the last 2.5 years in college? Because they run the Georgia, because their defense is so, they have speed and they can tackle. I mean, you basically can't even, I mean, ask Hooker about him. As soon as he went back, he was sacked. So it's not hard. So you watch it, LSU, Alabama, watch the game. Do you really need to see Daniels in the combine? Do you need to see Bo Nix or Penix in the combine, or Hartman, the Tulane guy? Do you need to see him in the combine to see if they're any good? I don't think so. The quarterback for LSU going to be okay in the NFL? I would imagine so. I worried about him when he first came out because he did not look good at Arizona State. So he goes to LSU, and it's Brian Kelly's first year. He's okay. He starts getting better near the end. This year, he was great running, but I saw that he was very accurate throwing the ball. He could throw the ball. See, I get after Lamar because he can't throw the ball. Daniels is quicker than Lamar running, but he can throw the ball like Bo Nix, right? And that's really the key to it is how accurate he is down the field and putting up, well, he had 28 on Alabama in the first half when the guy cheap shotted him. But in some of his games, he's putting up 50 points. So I don't think he's a problem at all. I don't think Bo Nix, I don't think Penix, and I don't think Hartman are be fine. Caleb, I worry about, and Drake May, you've got to be out of your fucking mind to draft that guy. You've got to be about the stupidest GM in the world to draft Drake May. And if I'm asking you why, how are you going to give me an answer? What is it you're going to see to give me an answer about drafting Drake May? He's big. He's got a big arm. Oh, great. What team does he throw to? So, yeah, Daniels will be fine. Gregor John, I watched a good basketball game last night. It was Clippers-Lakers. Okay. Drake May is high, too. What do you mean Drake May is high, too? He should not be a high draft pick. No, not at all. He's like J.J. McCarthy of Michigan. I don't know that they should be drafted. I don't think they're any good. I know Drake May. You might as well. It's like Thurston Howell III at Washington and Trubisky is Drake May. So you want to get a guy like those? Be my guest. I wouldn't draft either of them in any round. I mean, there's much better quarterbacks. I'll trade for Trask at Tampa. I mean, if they're not going to use him, I'll play him. But Drake May, he can throw it far. Okay. So a lot depends on the team. Now, the problem with a lot of teams, if we use the KC model, Or we can use the San Francisco model as this is the team I want. Good quarterback, good running back, so I have balance, good receivers. So now how's the defense? They can't just play cover 2 on me because I can run the ball. That's Miami's problem. They play cover 2 and he's throwing. You can't throw in a cover 2. And then what's my defense look like? But even better, what's my defensive coordinator look like? And that, I think, is the biggest problem in the league. The defensive coordinators are horrible. All right, so let's look at defense in the NFL. You got Baltimore and Kansas City, 17 points a game. You got the Niners and Buffalo at 18. Dallas, Pitt, Tampa, New Orleans at 19. And then Oakland at 20. That's it. The rest of the league sucks. Washington gives up 31 a game. Arizona, 27. Philadelphia was 6 Georgia guys, 25. Carolina, 25. Indy, 24. Denver, 24. The Giants, 24. Seattle, 24. Cincinnati, Miami, Detroit, San Diego at 23. New England, Tennessee, Jacksonville, Atlanta, the Rams, and the Bears at 22. KC are the best. Oh, yeah, KC won the Super Bowl. The Niners right there. Oh, yeah, KC or Frisco. Yeah, they were in the Super Bowl too, weren't they? Buffalo with an 18 because they got a weak division, and Dallas 19 because they got Micah Parsons. Pittsburgh. Okay, so that's your normal thing. Oh, as long as I'm on this page, I'm going to do quickly the gold bars. They're 400-ounce bars for the big James Bond bars. 1 ton is 32,000 ounces. 80 bars in a ton, 80 times 400 at 2,000 is $800,000 price of the bars. Well, if you have 80 bars, so the price per ton. So if you have a 1 ton, which is 32,000 ounces, it's $64 million. $64 million is 1 ton. Unbelievable. So 1 bar is 800,000. That's what I was getting at. 400 ounces times 2,000 is 800. So if you have 1 bar of James Bond, it's 800,000. 1 ton is 64 million. So you have 80 bars in a ton, which is 80 bars in a ton, 32,000 ounces are in one. All right, back to you guys. So you can see the problem with these teams. Their defense is so bad. This is the problem. Yeah, I'm freezing because when I went to open my spreadsheet, it's not Excel. It's I got to get a new computer. It's so when I flip to it, it's it goes out to the cloud and it eats too much bullshit. That's why I try not to do it too often. But yeah, I know. So now I'm back. Gold is good. Well, of course. Why do you think we talk about it? James Bond is awesome. Yeah, he was. Not anymore, but he used to be really good. Sean Connery. I think Roger Craig really blew James Bond. The only movie that was any good was the Casino Royale, and that's because it had poker in it. I thought the one with the Russian Skyfall, I thought was terrible. Spectre was Oh, the guy's name's Blofeld. Yeah, we knew that in the 1960s when they said his name was Blofeld. No real new information there. I didn't even see the last movie because I don't want to see James Bond die. That's not the point of it. Yeah, Sean Connery was the best. And I think From Russia with Love was the best movie because he was in the dark. We knew Spectre was behind it. He thought it was the Russians and the British. All the way till near the end, he was he was in the dark. That's why it was the best movie, I think. So that's what you're dealing with gold. So when these guys got tons and tons, that's how much money do they have in gold? And you wonder, why would you invest in gold? And not only that, they can't lose. It's not like the ton of gold. What did I say? $64 million for 1 ton. And China's got 60,000 tons and Russia's got 30,000 tons. And guess what? They can't lose. There's no way they're going to go down and that gold's not going to be worth the same or more. There's no way that gold goes to zero. That's the beauty of gold. You can't inflate it. So when China and Russia and India buy all this gold, I mean, you didn't like it. You rehypothecated it, which means you sold it. Okay, why aren't you buying it now? Buy a few tons. You're printing all this money anyway. You might as well buy some gold, and then you'll have money. What do they think's going to happen? Excuse me? What do they think's going to happen? The dollar's all of a sudden going to be fine? Out of collapsing America? Nothing. They lose. They don't gain. If you have a lot of people with money and they're working and you can tax them, that's what you gain. You gain more wealth, right? You want people working. It's a richer society. That's why they can play on their yachts and all the nice houses and everything else, is because we are working. We're creating this great nation and great economy, but you fucked it all up by taking it away. And so if you've done that, what's the game? What's the control? You're going to control us, and how are you going to do that? Control my bank account? I won't have money. All of this is gone. This is not a bank account. This is worthless. Now what are you controlling? The only way you can control is control this. But if you zero that out, you have no control. What the fuck are you talking about? This is not a game of control. This is a bunch of idiots printing the money to zero. So China and Russia can use their gold on a power play on us and say, get the fuck out of here. We got gold. You don't. We win. That's what this is all about. Digital dollars, they're worthless. You control, what? I can't go to the gym? And what do you gain by me not being able to drive or go to the gym or going to get a pizza or eating my avocados? What do you gain out of it? Absolutely nothing. You're controlling me. Okay. And what is that? How does that gain you? So if I control Greg and John, how do I benefit? I mean, I don't benefit at all. There is no benefit to me to control anybody unless I gain something, which I don't. So what the fuck's going on? It's not a control. It's incompetence by fucking idiots who are blowing up the money. It's stupidity, not control. There's no game. There's no control. There's no end game. It's stupidity destroying the money, and nobody's there to really stop them. We'll just keep printing. We'll just keep printing. The debts, it doesn't matter if we have a debt. We'll just ignore it. Okay. Well, Greg and John, there's nothing I can do. I can see I'm freezing, but there's really nothing I can do. So thank you for announcing it. But right now I'm not freezing, and I'm not going to stop the show and restart it. That's a pain in the ass, and people got to find it again. So I'm not going to do anything. Just grin and bear it, and now it's fine. Detroit should be good. Well, Detroit doesn't have a coach, so that's their big problem as far as should be good or not. This I'm not really sure if they should be good. Let's just say if we look at them like KC, all right, let's parallel. All right, so you want to pick football games. You want to learn how to bet. All right, let me get some ice. I don't want to drink this whole thing. There's some chocolate I want to get to. So I'm giving you the magic formula. I'm telling you, if I'm the GM, I'll play GM. How do I build a team? Get a good quarterback. I don't need Mahomes. I need a good one. Get a good running back. I don't need McCaffrey. Just give me a good one. But give me a quarterback who can throw, not Lamar, not Hurts, not Fields. I want a quarterback. Give me a quarterback. Give me a good running back. Not a great one, but a good one. Give me some good receivers. Don't necessarily need a tight end, but that would help. And give me a good secondary. Give me a good defense. Not a great one, but a good shutdown defense. Sort of like Kansas City's. So the idea is a Kansas City type of defense. Mahomes and Kelsey, Pacheco. I got Rice as my other receiver. Give me a team like that I can build. The Niners have a team like that. They got Purdy and they got McCaffrey. Great receivers, great defense. They lack a defensive coordinator. They lost because their defensive coordinator sucks. And they lost to Spagnuolo. Simple as that. They've since fired their defensive coordinator, but the question is, why did they hire him? I don't understand these teams. They hire a guy who's never been a defensive coordinator. The Lions hired a guy who's never been a head coach before. So you think they're going to be good? I don't think they're good. I don't think they're a good team. I think they played a lot of bad teams. They got lucky. They have a good offensive coordinator who they need to make the head coach. But if he goes, the team will win 5 games. The team's not very good. Goff is not very good. We've seen him on the Rams to see he's not any good. The St. Brown guy, the receiver's okay. Montgomery's okay as a running back, but he didn't do a lot at the Bears. I don't like the kid from Alabama or the receiver from Alabama. You could have got much better receivers than that guy, especially in the first round. And the same thing with I'd rather have the running back from Oklahoma State than this guy from Alabama. He didn't do anything at Alabama. So because they're spread out, they have good receivers, it makes the running back look better. But when they got in to play the running back, he fumbled, right? So, I don't know. Well, it depends. Ric Flair doesn't always win. He always woos, but he doesn't always win. So Detroit should be good. Let's go through. Do they have a good quarterback? Do they have a good running back for balance? Yes. So they got good receivers. I'll give you that. They got St. Brown and the tight end. The other receivers suck. Do they have a good defense? No. Can they put pressure on? They have the one Michigan guy, and he doesn't show up half the time. That's the funny part with him. He doesn't show up a lot. Where was he against the Niners? Didn't show up. It's 24-7 going into the half. They give up 27 points in the second half. In one half, where is he? Didn't have any sacks, didn't have any tackles. Where was the rest of the defense? See, if you have a good defense, then you do a KC Baltimore, right? They're up 17-7 at the half. They win 17-10. That's what a good defense does, and the smart quarterback doesn't turn it over. Lions had 3 turnovers in the second half. All right, so are they a good team? No. Look who they played. Look who they beat. They didn't play too many good teams anyway. They played Baltimore and they got killed. They played Dallas and they lost, who I doubt's a very good team. And that was it. What they played, they lost to Seattle, who wasn't a playoff team. They didn't play the Niners. They didn't play Philly. They didn't play Miami and the Buffalo. They got the West. Oakland sucked. Denver, when they played them, was decent. San Diego, that was a good game. And then Kansas City was absolutely a fluke because Kelsey didn't play and their defensive tackle didn't play. So don't tell me they beat Kansas City. Yeah, okay, sure they did. Yeah, get them in the Super Bowl and they lose 32-0. So in my mind, they're missing 3 key, they're missing 2 key ingredients: a good defensive coordinator, a good defense, and a quarterback. So you can look at Goff, but I look at a whole game of Goff. He was very good for one half against the Niners, 24-7. And then where did he go? They were good against the Rams, 21-17. Where did he go? Got a field goal in the second half. Tampa, he struggled with. Baltimore, he didn't show up. Dallas doesn't show up. Threw terrible interception with 2 minutes left. Lost to the Bears. Where was he against the Bears? At Chicago. They lose 28-13. Where was he there? Give me the shit. Chicago's this great defensive team. So it really gets it. That's what a team is. So first of all, you identify the things you need, which we have: defense, a quarterback, a running back, wide receiver, you have to have a balanced team. So let's look at USC. What happened to them? No defense, quarterback. Did they have running? I don't know. They had good offense. Let's say they had running and that, but they had no defense, no defensive coordinator. And then you look at Oregon, very good offense, very good defense, very good running back, excellent quarterback, good receivers. Should have been in the playoff. Look at Georgia, outstanding defense, outstanding quarterback was his first year, good running attack, good receivers, Brock Bowers. They should have been in the playoffs. It was a joke. They weren't in it. It was absolutely a crime. Texas, very strong defense. You look at the teams that really didn't show were the teams without the defense. Washington, their defense was not as good. What was Washington's defense? Washington's defense was a 24, right? And that's why Michigan's was a 21 after we cleared out for all the bullshit games they played and got to their Ohio State, Penn State, and Alabama game. So they had 3 games all year, and they had a 21 defense, but Washington had a 24. In contrast, let's see, Duke had a 20, Troy had a 17, Texas had a 17, Alabama had an 18, Iowa had a 13, Oregon had a 17. I mean, that's those are the teams. So you look at like an Oregon's a 17 with a good quarterback, a good running back, and a good offense, right? They're an A team. Even Iowa, okay, they had the defense, they didn't have the rest, they didn't have the offense. So you're looking for the team that has both. And Troy, they were an excellent team, although they did lose to Duke. Yeah, but I don't know if any of their players played. SMU had a 17 defense. The quarterback gets hurt. The other guy comes in. Not a problem. We've got Notre Dame with a 16 defense with Hartman. And then again, Washington and Michigan. So Washington had a 24. That's why I preferred Oregon, because they really had Oregon had a 17 defense. Oregon would have beat Michigan without a problem. Alabama had them beat if the guy doesn't fumble, so Oregon's going to beat them. So Michigan got extremely lucky not playing Georgia and not playing Oregon. It was a very weak Final Four. Alabama should not have been in it. And let's give Texas, but really Oklahoma beat them, didn't they? And then we've got, where's Oregon? Why isn't Oregon in there? They destroyed everybody, but the matchup favored Washington in their games. Well, if they just punt the ball instead of going for it at midfield with a minute left in the game, we got Oregon in the championship, and they probably win it. The coach should be fired because he basically the same thing as the Lions coach. He cost them the game with his stupid decision. Greg and John, I couldn't believe the Raiders beat KC that 1 week. Must have been a fluke game. Well, no, not really. I mean, they had a very strong defense, Oakland. No quarterback. KC's got a very strong defense, so could have been turnovers. It's a rivalry for Oakland, but for Kansas City, their rivalry is Buffalo. So, or Cincinnati, it's turning into. So really, this is why I don't like to bet against good defensive teams. Oakland had what was Oakland's defense? It was a very strong one. I think I read it. Oakland's defense was a 16. Right. It was a 20 for the year, but if you just looked at their last 6 or 7 games, when they started getting really good, it was a 16. So you can't fuck with a good defense, because that's where you get the upsets. Because you can shut the other team down, which is what KC did to Buffalo and Baltimore and the Niners. They hit the good defense on them. The Niners got 19 points, and that's the difference. They get 34 on the Lions and 19 on Kansas City. That is the difference. That's the point, right? That's what you're looking at. The Lions up 24-7. If they had a good team, that would have been it. They would have shut Frisco down. They wouldn't have allowed the points. So they'd have kicked the field goals on the 4th down. They would have intercepted. The guy hit him in the face mask. Well, that was interference. So Frisco might have got a field goal out of that. So you're at 24-10. So now it's 24-13. You kick the field goal, it's 27-13. You kick the other field goal, it's 30-17. You probably the fumble's the fumble, but you hold them. I think KC had a turnover or two against Baltimore and nothing happened. That's where you need the defense, and you're not going to win without a defense. So you can say how good golf looks, but did you win with them? No. And now next year you get the tough schedule. Are you going to win with them next year? I'm staying away from them against Green Bay's much better. Minnesota, we got to see who their quarterback is. They got Jefferson, who ate them up alive. Give them a defense. Bears, we don't know. They'll be far worse with Caleb over Fields, but Fields is not a good quarterback at all. Do they get the Philadelphias, the San Franciscos, the Buffaloes, the Kansas Cities? Who is the other division they're going to play? Are they going to get the Tampa Bay division again? See, they got the Tampa Bay division, which is 3 or 4 easy wins, and their own division, Chicago, Minnesota, Green Bay, which turned out to be 4 wins. And they only had to play Baltimore and Dallas. So they avoided Frisco, Philly, Buffalo, Miami, all the good teams they avoided. Next year, they won't avoid them. You got into the playoffs. Now you're getting the hard schedule. So now you got 8 or 9 really strong teams. They'll play the Niners and the Rams and Seattle, and they'll get Philly and Dallas, and they'll probably get KC, Buffalo, Baltimore. So all of a sudden these easy games against Carolina and Tampa and New Orleans aren't going to be on the schedule. Green Bay got better, and Chicago's getting better, and Minnesota's getting better. So all of a sudden, you're picking up 6 wins in your own division because your division sucked. I don't think they'll win the division. I would put my money on Green Bay, even though I hate Jordan Love. He did look pretty. They did beat Dallas. They had the same thing. They had Frisco beat. They didn't play defense. Do I like LaFleur? I like Guy LaFleur at Montreal. I'm not sure I like the Green Bay coach. He's one of these Shanahan guys that have their head up their ass. They're good offensive coaches, but they're not good defensive coaches. Not good game coach. Thank you, Greg and John. That's why you pay me the big money. That's what separates me from everybody. I can look at it and analyze it, and it makes sense. And it's what's needed in the prediction. That's what I was hoping for Eric to give us, would have been that type of analysis. If you give us that type of analysis, Eric, on college basketball, I'll listen to you. I'm leaning against it because I'm not really talking college basketball. So I give you a whole slew of subjects, right? Poker, women, stoic, economics, gold, inflation, pro football, college football, poker. I give you all these subjects that I am expert in. When we get to college basketball, I really don't follow it. So I can't really add a lot to the analysis. You have to come up with analysis. But the question is, is it a subject we're going to talk about? And it really isn't. And this being a class, it's really not the subject that I want to go to. Maybe when we get to the tournament, okay, I can look at it a little bit. But I don't know anything. I couldn't name one player. I can't name one team, and Bobby Knight's not coaching anymore. So I don't really know. I know Michigan and Michigan State suck. I don't know who's the best team, and I don't know who the best player is. There was a guy everybody loved in the draft last year. The other year was some guy who was like 7'5" from Europe, and everybody, this is the dominant number 1 player. Is he even playing? Is he even starting on a team? Is he a dominant number? I doubt it. I never heard of him. I mean, I haven't heard of him since. It all comes back to some of these other guys that I've never heard of. I have no desire because a guy named Bird and Magic and Jordan and Kareem, Dr. J are not playing. I don't really give a shit about whoever these clowns are because you've taken me away from college basketball because everybody does these one and dones, and it's just all bullshit. So I don't want to put it in a way Bobby knows is vampiring. So stoic's about we get there and we focus on it, we can analyze it, but we got to enjoy it, and it's got to make sense to us. And college basketball is not one of those things that I'm sitting there going to say, yeah, let's follow that. Pro basketball, I don't really care about. Football, yes. Baseball, a little bit. But it used to be great, and now it's, not. I don't either. I used to watch it back in the day. I remember Duke used to be the best. Duke, North Carolina had Jordan, and Indiana had Bobby Knight and old Isaiah. UCLA, I remember UCLA winning the title with Kareem and Bill Walton. See, that was see, what do we say? You need that marketing guy, right? You need the guy you want to watch. Joe Montana, Lawrence Taylor, right? Brady. So you had it in Kareem in the 60s, UCLA, they won the title every year. Then you had Bill Walton. Then you got to Larry Bird, Magic, Kareem. Okay, and then Jordan came in, Isaiah. But you don't have that now. There's nobody I'm going to watch. There's nobody that I'm going to market to watch or watch as a market part. So with that said, who am I? Why am I watching? I don't have Willie Mays. I don't have Mickey Mantle. I don't have Koufax and Gibson. I don't have these guys. I don't have Bobby. Bobby, where are you? What team are you on? Why aren't you playing, Bobby? So Duke back in the day was the coach. Their players, I always hated their players. I like North Carolina's players. I hated the Duke players. So you end up, there's nobody to watch. So why would I watch college basketball? There's nobody there, right? Who am I watching? Who's any good? I mean, really good. Who's Magic, Bird, and Jordan? Nobody. So why would I watch it? That's the problem. They're not bringing you to the table to watch something, right? There's nothing there that's going to make me turn it on or watch the tournament. In the NBA, maybe it's the guy in Golden State, Curry. It's not Durant. It certainly is not half the guys. I laugh because the Pistons lost 35 in a row, 40 in a row. I mean, if the owner doesn't care, why would I care? The owner doesn't give a shit if he wins. He should be embarrassed. I hope when his stock goes, Ohtani, to me, it's a joke. Look, you either be a pitcher, you hit a lot of home runs, maybe you should be playing outfield. Don't tell me you can play both because it's bullshit. Ruth chose right field. He didn't pitch and play right field. There's a reason. He hit 790 home runs being a right fielder, and they won all the championships. You don't get it's like Lamar, right? Get a pitcher and put Ohtani in the outfield. You got Lamar, they'll get a running back, or put Lamar at wide receiver. But Lamar cannot throw the ball and run the ball. Choose one. You want to run it, be a running back. You want to throw it, you can't throw it. You're not a quarterback. And that's my point. Just play one. Don't try to make these guys dual. They can't do both. Nobody can do both. You can either throw it very well or you can run it very well. Nobody has ever done both in the NFL and won. Steve Young, he sucked until he just became a quarterback. Dante Culpepper, the dogfighter guy, Michael Vick, he couldn't throw. So you're either going to be a quarterback, you're either going to throw the ball or go be a running back. You can't do both, and it just doesn't work. So Ohtani, I have no care. Judge, because he's I've never seen him play. So I can't say. I've never watched him at bat. Well, how do you create new stars? Seems you're talking about legends back then. Well, Derek Jeter. How did you create Derek Jeter? He created himself. He's a good player. You don't have those players now. You don't have a Derek Jeter. You don't have a Bob Gibson, a Sandy Koufax. I mean, Willie Mays. He was great. They didn't create him. He could play. Now, I think some of these guys are playing basketball. Dave Winfield could have played football, baseball, or basketball, and he chose baseball. He was a great tight end, and he was a great power forward, but he chose baseball. So I think the Willie Mazes are playing basketball or football. All these tight ends could easily be power forwards in basketball. So I think that's the problem is not that there's not good athletes, but back then, Willie Mays would never have played football or basketball. There was no money in it. Baseball was king, so it got the players. Aaron, Mays, Clemente, Bonds, Bobby Bonds, not Barry Bonds, McCovey. All the good players played baseball. Now you have a switch. There's more money in basketball, and you don't get hurt, and there's more money in football. So all the good players are playing, I think, basketball, and there is nobody. And all these guys from Latin America, South America, they don't even speak English. He could speak English. So a guy like Clemente come in from Latin America, okay, fine. But you don't find any like that. Cabrera on the Tigers. I never watched the guy play. He couldn't speak English. He was in the fucking league for what, 15 years? He was on the Tigers 10 years. The guy couldn't say hello and goodbye. Well, I'm not going to support him. I never watched him. I never cared about him. I don't, I thought the whole thing about him, I'd have let him go 5 years ago. The guy's hitting 200 with 5 home runs. What the fuck is he on the team for? But they drafted so bad they didn't have anybody to replace him. But that was ridiculous. You don't sign a guy to a 10-year contract anyway. So the new stars come. I'm sure there's a great baseball player. Will he play baseball or will he play basketball? You got these great quarterbacks. Look at all these great quarterbacks that we name, right? Bo Nix and Penix and Daniels and even Russell Wilson was a great center fielder or shortstop. He was one of those because that's why he throws sidearm. So those players are playing, football, right? Russell Wilson, would he have been Russell Wilson if he played baseball? But let's take Daniels. All right, let's say the quarterback LSU is a center fielder who can run. He'd be exciting to watch. Let's say he hits 330, a lot of singles and doubles, and really steals a lot of bases and a great glove. Okay, he'd be a guy I'd want to watch, but he's the quarterback. I'm not sure about Nix or Penix. It's like he'd be a great shortstop. He's playing quarterback. Drake May should be a left fielder. I mean, he should not be playing football. He's in the wrong sport. I guarantee you that. But this is the problem. They're not playing the proper. They're playing football for the money, and they could be great baseball players, but they're not playing. So you don't know. But the guys like Daniels, I would turn into what? Now, like, let's say, Mahomes was a baseball player. I don't know. Maybe he couldn't hit a curveball. For him to go football, maybe he couldn't hit very well. I think he was a outfielder. His dad was a pitcher. I got his dad's card, so I'm looking and it says Pat Mahomes, but it was like 1990. He was a pitcher on Minnesota. So I'm thinking, well, maybe I should have Pat Mahomes and then junior and senior, and try to sell them in an auction. I don't know if the father's got any value. Probably not. He never had value. But that's the problem. So these guys, these big, powerful guys, a lot of the tight ends, running backs would be great power hitters, right? But they play football. And so you don't see them in baseball. But those are like Dave Winfield was a tight end. So take some tight ends. Take Brock Bowers. Probably be a great baseball player. He seems like a natural athlete, probably a fourth hitter, could hit, 40 home runs a year and a great glove, and or more in football, but then basketball. So that's where these athletes are going. That, yeah, I'll probably watch Daniels and Bo Nix and Penix next year. I'm not sure if I'll watch Caleb, but if it's the Fox game and the Lions are playing Daniels, I'll probably watch it now to see Daniels, not to see the Lions. So let's say Chicago gets whatchamacallit, Caleb. Let's say Chicago gets Caleb and the Lions play Chicago the second week. Let's say about the sixth week. Would I watch it to see Caleb? Only to get crushed. But I would watch if they got Daniels or Bo Nix. I'd want to see them play. Problem is, will they play them? Look how bad Young was last year. I wouldn't watch that guy. My friend Alex is all excited to see CJ Stroud. You watch Brady, and I would watch Aaron Rodgers if he played. I'm not watching Buffalo or Baltimore, but I would watch Kansas City and San Francisco and LA and Seattle. I can't believe Coach Pete's gone. That's unbelievable. Anyway, so you grab your formula for football. Now, how do you bet the football? So what's the betting strategies? Well, learning the team. So I'm betting a little and building them up. And as I win, I'm building and building and building. But what am I looking for when I'm making the pick is what I'm trying to teach. And it was crystal clear with KC. Great defense and Mahomes. I never once, ever in those playoff games thought about taking Buffalo, Baltimore, or San Francisco. It was Mahomes is a dog? Really? Thank you very much. How much should I bet on these games? That's the whole point. Then it's easy, right? It's a piece of cake. Let's bet Mahomes. But that's what you're looking for is Mahomes. Do we have him in Daniels? Could be. And I want a quarterback that's going to win the game for you. That's why I don't want Lamar and I don't want Josh Allen. I do want Burrow. But and I don't want Goff because he doesn't win the game for you. That's how I look at a quarterback. You guys tend to look at, oh, look, Lamar threw a 20-yard pass to the guy who's wide open. Isn't he a good quarterback? Oh, my God. Tagliavua, same thing. Doesn't show up in the big games. What was I watching yesterday? And they made that comment. I think it was the Steelers or something. Yeah, Franco Harris. And it was like in the big games, in the Super Bowls, he showed up. And I know I use that a lot when I talk about these quarterbacks who don't show up. So here I said he shows up. Franco Harris showed up. And that was the reason Pittsburgh was so strong until they got Swan and Stallworth. Even as bad as Bradshaw was, Harris won those games, not Bradshaw. Bradshaw was terrible. But that's what you're looking at. So you're trying to, sort of like chess, you're trying to build the board, but you got to know what you're doing. And so I've given you clear instruction. We want a Mahomes type. We want somebody that with a running back and decent receivers, and we want a good defense. And then that's what you look for. So that's why I do the numbers, right? What did I give you? Washington had a 31 defense. You would never bet Washington. You would only bet them over. And that's why at the end of the year, they played Dallas. I bet them over because I knew Dallas would score a lot on them. And they did. They ended up winning like 38-10, and we had the over 35 or something. And we won the over because we knew they couldn't. So you're dissecting how good is the defense. That's the real question that we've discovered. Forget all the trends, forget all the bullshit. How good are their defense? And the best way is to look at them against other teams. So you see Detroit played Green Bay and they got killed, and got killed to the Bears, got killed to Baltimore, got killed to Seattle, gave up a lot of points to a lot of average teams. And San Diego put up a lot on them. Oakland had no offense. So then that's what you're looking at, right? You've got the idea this is a good defense or not. That's what's hidden. The league's so bad right now. There's only 5 or 6 good teams, and then the rest are either in the middle, like Seattle and the Rams and Dallas. And then you've got your real bad teams, Arizona, Washington, the Giants. And so you've got to analyze who they're doing this against to really get a good feel for it. So that's what you're looking, but you got to have the basis of what you're looking for. So Eric, what is the basis of your college basketball? I don't want people just giving me picks. What am I going to do with them? I don't sell college basketball. No, not that I sell economics and gold and everything else. That's part of the class, though. That's very important that you protect yourself. Betting a college game is not important. Women, poker, brics, gold, silver, that's important things. So if you bring in that, you got to really prove it. But you got to look at it like that anyway. Why are you bringing it in? And then don't just throw out a pick. But that's really the key to it. So that's why I really don't care about it. If you do bring in football games, you're really barking up the wrong tree, because I basically will give you the games. As the teacher, I'm telling you, and I back it up with the reasons, right? I'm giving you the reasons to bet it. That's why you come in. What are you trying to sell it? Are you trying to get credit? Look at me. I don't know what you're doing, but I don't, you're in the class. So, and I try to establish that I'm teaching you, right? Greg or John, the sports have changed too with the rules to a point, but still not good players. NFL football is that popular in Europe? They love soccer. No, it's not really popular in Europe. I was in Berlin and it was December and the football's on, and I go to the guy, can you turn on the football game? This is like at 10 o'clock at night. He says, nobody here cares about American football. We care about soccer. I said, okay, no problem. They don't care about it in Europe. Why would they? See, soccer's a pride thing. It's Germany, it's Spain, it's Barcelona, it's the London teams, it's Manchester United. I've been watching a lot of Eurotrip. It's Manchester United, it's Liverpool. So they have a dog in the fight, or whatever you want to call it, a fight in the game. Green Bay Packers, what do they give a fuck? They're not involved with the team. They don't follow the teams, so they're into their soccer. And so, no, they don't give a shit. Why the NFL's there, I have no idea. Not going to be all of a sudden popular in Europe. They tried it, right? They had the World Football League and all these teams, and it didn't work. Nobody cares. TK, I like to see a Yankees-Dodgers baseball series. Go watch 1964. You'll like that one. What's the hardest sport to play? And I played most of them. I'd say golf is the hardest, because golf is extremely difficult it's a small ball. you've got different clubs, different length of clubs that go different distances. You've got impediments like water and sand and trees. And it's very, you've got to power it and finesse it. Drive 300 yards, but then you got to make a 10-foot putt. So with the drive, you're swinging as hard as you can. But with the 10-foot putt, you only want it to go 10 feet. So you're not swinging as hard as you can with the putter or with your wedges, right? You're 50 yards in front of the green. You don't want to hit a full shot. You've got to hit a finesse shot that goes 50 yards or getting out of a bunker. You don't hit it as hard as you can and hit it 150 yards. You want to hit it 25 yards onto the green. You've got to be able to read greens. You always want to go uphill. You got to read the green. So when you hit your approach shot, you always want your approach shot to end up underneath the hole so you're putting uphill. Well, that's a lot of strategy. So it's sort of like chess, but it's power and finesse. You don't have that. Basketball is the easiest. Football is just power. Baseball, it's same thing. You're swinging as hard as you can most of the time to hit the ball. It's easy to catch. It's easy to pitch. So I'd say golf is the hardest, or maybe WWF could be hard, wrestling. You got to hit you got to throw the people's elbow properly. But I would say golf is the hardest. I played golf. Tennis is easy. So just a second, I got this error on the screen. So golf, I think, is the hardest because it's finesse and power. And you're really alone. Football, I have a bad game. Nobody knows. I missed a block. Nobody knows. Same thing with baseball. Same thing with basketball. Golf, you're out alone. It's just you. There's no teammates out there. So I think it's the hardest. And again, you got different swings. But for me, and I was pretty good at it. I could shoot par or a few over. I can shoot in the mid 70s. Never shot in the 60s, but I could shoot in the mid to upper 70s. And once you got the swing down, it was easy. It's a timing game. It's a rhythm game. And again, you're trying to power it. I was very good with my short game. I could putt and chip very, very well. My problem would be I didn't hit my driver as far as I could, as far as what I should have. And my iron play was pretty good. So if I had a 5, 6, 7, 8 iron in, I could put it on the green. I couldn't really stick it 3 feet away, usually with maybe 10 or 20, and I could putt real damn well. So the putting could save me. But it's a very difficult game. And I played baseball. I played a lot of baseball, and I was 5'9". I wasn't playing basketball. That's another thing. It's a height thing. If you're tall, you can play. And then football, I didn't want to get hurt. Slow white guys don't do well in football. And I didn't want to be 300 pounds and be a blocker. So I was a tight end was my position. Greg and John, Yankees, Dodgers. Go watch the 64 World Series. Go watch a lot of these 50s and 60s. It was all Dodgers and Yankees. Eric, you throwing out picks. He was. Golf, you can't get a concussion or injured bad, though, I don't think. Well, Tiger Woods got it, but all his injuries weren't golf-related. Like I said, golf is an extremely tough. It's both power and finesse, and you really don't. In baseball, you're up to the hit. You're hitting the ball as hard as you can. There's one swing, unless you're bunting. Defense is nothing. You're just catching the ball and throwing. It's one speed. Basketball is nothing. You're throwing it through a big hoop. I mean, there's no skill involved in that at all. Football, Mahomes has to throw deep and throw short. I give you that. And read the hardest part about football is the quarterback getting hit every play. But the lineman, it's easy. You just hit the guy. The running backs, you're just trying to find a hole. You're going to get hit, but it's not hard. And then the receivers, you're catching the ball. All right, a little bit where the guy's going to hit you, but that's part of the game. If this is what kills me about football. We know you're going to get hit in the game when you sign up to play. If you want to play, I want to play football, you're going to get hit. So you must enjoy protecting the player and keeping the game safe is a joke because, of course, they get hit. They want to get hit. They enjoy getting hit. So it's but it's not hard to catch a football. It's very easy. So we figure out our certain strategies to making picks. Then we try to lay the teams in there. College and pro, a little bit different. College, they score a lot more. Pro, they just want to get the win. So if you break pro down, you look at your stars, Burrow and Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. Then we got Stafford and, Hurts and Josh Allen. And you have 3 or 4, and then you got the rest of the bums. Well, okay, Greg, you played golf. I get it. You enjoyed it. Well, it's a fun game. When you hit the ball solidly, it's very fun. It's a good feeling. Older people can play golf too. Yes, Greg John, older people can play golf. Although a lot of the older people I see are having trouble walking because of all their diabetes, because they don't understand sugar and fasting and carbs. But yes. Yeah, you can play baseball. You can play slow pitch softball when you get older. Basketball, you really just play with your kids or something. And football, what are you going to play? I mean, when you get older, you can't play tackle. Maybe you play 2-hand touch, but you're going to kill your feet, and you're just not geared, to run like that when you get older. So. Yeah, golf's probably the only game you can play older. Racquetball, I like. But anyway, so we figure out how to bet. It's the same thing where how we figured out gold. We figured out gold because we said, well, we know, but you got to have a knowledge. We know money is worthless. We know it gets printed, and the more they print, it goes to zero. We know this. Just like we know Lamar will never win a Super Bowl because you can't throw. We know the dollar will always go to zero unless it's backed by gold. So it's a very simple equation. Is the dollar backed by gold? Yes or no? No. I better get the fuck out of it. What is the good thing to get into? It's only gold and silver because they can't print it. So they can't make it go to zero. So we get out of the dollar and we go into gold. It's a very simple thing of they print too much dollars, losing value. What is out there that isn't printed? Well, we know this because there's only 50 of them. So we want things like this where they're very limited. And then we get Barry Bonds, and he's only 100. So then we realize, we want things that are numbered because they can't print them to death. Because we realize they'll print these things to death. They're running it, and that's the problem. So with that said, that's how we figured out gold. Can't be in money. It's not backed by anything. Leaves you gold. They can't print gold, so it can never lose its value. Okay, fine. Very, very simple. So now let's take it. Well, what do we do? Well, we know we want to play the defenses. So we start looking at statistics, but then we got to dissect to the statistic to realize, is it any good or not? Oh, wait, Oklahoma beat Tennessee Tech, school team, 72-0. No, that doesn't work. Now, how did they play Texas? How did they play Oklahoma State? That shows you if they're any. Then it shows you their defense, and so you see that. So you got to take that out, and then you get to okay. Let's peel that away. Now, how's their defense? Oh, it's a 15 defense or Oregon. That's who we want to bet. Now we look at them. Are they Iowa, a team with no quarterback, or are they Oregon, a team with a good quarterback and a good offense? Because if you have this killer defense with a good offense, then they're A teams, and we want to bet them because we know they're going to score on you, and you're not going to score on their defense. And that's what you're looking for. However, if we find an Iowa team that doesn't score but has this killer defense, we're going to bet the game's under. Or if we have Georgia, a team with a great defense who didn't really score a lot, we bet them under. Then there's teams like USC who have no defense, who have this great offense. So it's an over team. They're going to score a lot. They can't stop the win. They couldn't stop. If they played Tennessee Tech, they'd give up 30 points. And then we play them over if we get another, because betting it. Then you look for your matchup. So we got this great team in Oregon, good offense, good defense, playing a weak team who doesn't have a good defense. I mean, mostly we're looking for teams with weak defenses. And we say, well, we know Oregon's offense is going to roll on the defense, and we know this team's offense isn't going to do anything on Oregon. Now we bet Oregon. That's what we do. And in the NFL, that last week was Dallas, Washington. I think I locked it where – let's see if I have that. I think I do. Where is it? It must be the week before. Yeah, here it is. So we have Dallas as a 13-point favorite. We break the game down and we go, well, Dallas is an A team, and they only give up 20 points a game. And Washington's a Z team, and they give up 34. So what we're saying is Dallas has this good offense and a really good defense. Washington doesn't have a good offense and doesn't have a good defense. So what do we think is going to happen in the game? Dallas should score night and day because Washington doesn't have a good defense. And Washington's going to struggle scoring because Dallas has a good defense. Then we hope we have a good coach. But if we just look at those two factors, this is why we grade teams A and Z. So now we got the Z team in Washington playing an A team in Dallas. Then this is why the problems with the formulas. Dallas needs the game for the 2 seed. Frisco's won the 1 seed. Dallas is playing Detroit and Philadelphia for the 2 seed. So with that factored in, now they have reason to play. Where the Niners didn't have reason to play, they locked in the 1 seed. So you got to make sure that the game means something to them. So it did for Dallas. So yes, they're going to try. Yes, they got the better offense, even with Prescott, and they got a better defense with Micah Parsons. They're laying 13 points. Do I want over, under Dallas or Washington? Well, there's no way I'm taking Washington. Their defense sucks. I've got the game figured 34-7. And I said, well, Dallas is going to score all day on this team, and they're not going to leave it because they got to be the 2 seed, so they're going to score. Washington, how are they going to score? Their quarterback sucks. They have no offense, and they're playing this killer defense. So I go 34-7 Dallas. The spread's 13. I go ahead and play Dallas, lane 7. And Dallas wins 38-10. Look how close I was. Scored in the mid-30s and gave up 10. So I nailed it. But how did I do it? Well, I'm looking at the best, at a great defense versus a terrible defense. So right off the bat, I want to play the better defense. Do I have offense? I have some with Jack. He's not going to score. He's not going to throw too many interceptions against Washington's team. And then you have Washington with no offense with Thurston Howell III. And so with that, you were able to pick. So it breaks down to what type of team are they, and it breaks down to what type of defense. So even if we didn't look at anything, we just looked at Dallas's defense against Washington's defense, you would have played Dallas. And then you hope that they have a decent offense, and then you play them for more. And that's how you do it. So you just go down the list and you look at the team's defense and you go, okay, this is what we're doing. And you look at the team's offense to rank the team. So basically you want strong versus weak, which we go back to the art of war, which is what we do for everything. So that's what you're looking for. Now, some of the problem is you can't really tell. You look at the defense and in between, and you look at the offense. So like the Lions, terrible defense, give up 27 a game, but they score 27 a game. This team I'm betting over. So what did I do? Playoffs hit. We'll go right down the list. 3 for 3. First game, Detroit and the Rams. I played it over 45. It was 47. Detroit wins 24-23. I can't just Detroit to beat the Rams. I actually like the Rams to win the game, but I like the over better because Detroit, the Rams score a lot. Detroit scores a lot. So I thought this is going to be higher scoring than it was, but still that first game was an over. Then I get to the second game, Detroit, Tampa. Tampa with the 23 defense, Detroit, or a 17 defense, Detroit with the 27. I know Tampa's going to score in Detroit. They're such a bad defense. And I know Detroit's going to score. So again, go over because it's 49. All I got to do is get to 43. They play a 54, and I go over 42. And then we get to the last one against the Niners. Seeing what the Niners did against Green Bay, they're not really playing the good defense, and they have the good offense, and Detroit's defense is terrible. So I go over under 49-50. I go, let's lock the over at 44, and the game goes to a 65, 34-31. In fact, at halftime, it was 31. So in the middle of the third quarter, Detroit goes 34. It goes, it's 20. 24-7, 24-10, 34, 41, 48 with 6 minutes left in the third quarter. I've got my over already won. And because I don't trust the Lions, I don't play the game, which was Frisco 7, but the over was a much more attractive play because I know Detroit, they're going to score on Detroit 30 points, which they did, 34. I had 37-40 San Francisco winning, and they win 30. I almost had it nailed. It was 34-24, and the Lions got that late touchdown. So I had the game nailed, 34-24. And basically, this is where we use the numbers, and we kind of, wait a minute. There were some really weak teams that played early. Carolina, Atlanta, and they had these shutouts and gave up 3 or 6 points. So let's throw those out. Now it's more, let's just look at the last 7, 8. Oh, they had trouble with the Packers. They had trouble with the Bears. They had trouble with New Orleans. They had trouble with, San Diego. So all of a sudden they're playing the better team, not even the better teams, just playing average teams, and they're giving up 30 points a game. So then it made it even easier. So that's where you analytically look at and figure out, wait a minute, I'm seeing a lot of, so really you're just analytical. You're just looking at the scores going, what's going on here? They're giving up 28 to the Bears and 30 something to Packers and San Diego. And, you start realizing their defense sucks. You can't take the whole year because they're not, that was Carolina and Atlanta that they gave up 6 and 7 to. So let's throw those out because Carolina apparently can't score 10 points. And that's what you look at. And then, so that's how you bet. And then if you win, it adds to the bankroll, and that adds to making bigger bets. So really everything ties in. It's stoic, it's economics, it's poker. Everything ties in. You just got to know what you're looking for. So if this is poker, excuse me. If this is poker, then what are you looking at? You're looking at the other players. Do I have a bad defense or a bad offense with this player? I'm trying to rank the players, is he's good or not. He doesn't bluff a lot, or he bluffs too much, or he only bets when he has it. Like I said, I've read a lot of players that one husband and wife that cheated. He'd put chips out, so he'd put his little 2 chips out to say I got a hand. So he'd put them in front of his cards or to the side of his cards, and when he'd have a good hand, he would check, wanting you to bet, and then he would overbet you. So he did that to me. I had like 2 pair. He has a flush, and he's checking, and I'm like, "Oh, you wanna fuck with me?" I check back. Then the last card comes out. He checks. I check back. I wouldn't give him the bet where he's going to come over the top. So he wins $10, and I just laugh at him like, well, real good strategy, because I had 2 pair. I probably call a few of the bets. Can I get away from it? I don't know. If he has a flush, but because he's checking, I put him on it, and that was it. And I wouldn't do anything else. He's cheating with his wife, showing signals. But that's what you're looking for in football and girls and everything else. Like I said, does the girl give you a signal that she likes you or dislikes you? Read it. Does the poker player give you a signal? Yes, I'm bluffing. No, I got a hand. I check until I have a hand. I check, I got a decent hand, and then if you make a bet, I'll call you. Or if you check, I'll bet. Or if you bet, I'll fold. Or if I check and you bet, I'll check raise you. And so in poker, you figure it all out in women, right? Does she like me? Daria today, I didn't see anything, so I said, "Are you okay?" And she says, "No, I says, "Where were you yesterday? What are you doing today? Like, why aren't you talking to me?" She says, "Well, I got high blood pressure." And I'm like, so she's like sleeping and having tea. I took her to take a hot shower. Her neck's a little curved, or her back's, she's getting that curved spine. So I'm trying to get her to do exercises for, but it's just that communication. So I know I struggle with her communication. So I'm trying to figure out what I got with Daria. Jenna, every day we're doing this, we're doing that. And Daria, I struggle sometimes, but when she does text me, it's I love you and everything else. So I get that I believe she's telling me the truth, so I can go on reading her that's what she feels. Alyssa, I don't know, she comes and goes. She came by, and then I told her about Daria. Now I haven't heard from her. Very rarely she texts me back, or if I call, she doesn't answer. So I'm like, okay, this is the same old Alyssa. When she needs something, she calls. She needs a ride. She needs money. She texts you. Otherwise, she doesn't, which is fine. But you read that and you understand that. So the key is to understanding what you're doing. That's why I don't like chess. I don't understand the strategy in chess. It makes no sense to me what the fuck they're doing. Like I said, there was a girl who was like a big shooter with a 2,000 average or whatever. And she would quickly go through the game where she would play somebody else and just keep hitting the speed. It was like speed golf. And they'd play a 5-minute game. And I bitched her out over it. I said, "What are you doing? I don't give a fuck about watching your game. I give a fuck about what is your strategy? When this guy does something, you need to stop and explain it. Okay, he's doing this. My strategy is to do this." She doesn't have a strategy. There is no strategy in chess. It's go read what Joe Bob and then play and then make the same moves. What is the strategy of chess? I cannot figure out what the fuck it is. I know you want to get the king. Why do you flip your king and your rook? What's the point of it? Why do you get your queen out? Why do you forfeit your queen for their queen? Why would you do something that stupid? That's like taking out Mahomes in the fourth quarter. Why are you nuts? So what is the point? What is your strategy in the game? What are you trying to accomplish? because it doesn't make, it's just a bunch of gibberish, right? I'm moving here, I move my pawns, and then they take me, and then somebody does something, and then somebody captures a king with absolutely no strategy involved at all. None that I can, there's no, I can watch, Boris Pachowski or whoever, watch how he play. I have no idea. There's no strategy involved. Football, I can tell you. Poker, I can tell you strategy. You're trying to weed out the bluff. You're trying to see, does my opponent have a good hand or not? I'll make a bet to see fold. You can read the opponent, right? I can't read anything in chess. It makes no sense. So back to football. We're reading football. We're reading the scores, and we're reading the teams. So you're, A, are you a B, which is close to an A? Are you an over? Are you an under? Or are you a Z? Let's just say A and Z, over, under. What are you? And then the teams that are in the middle. They score 24, they give up 24. They're not an A, they're not a Z, they're not an over, they're not an under. And those are the teams you just scratch your head and go, I don't know what I'm doing with these guys. But that's what you're looking for. And that's the idea, is figuring out the teams out. And it'll work in college basketball and pro basketball and hockey and baseball and everything else. But baseball is different. Baseball, you're looking at pitching, period. Basketball, you're probably looking at offense and defense. Is there any stars? I don't think so. There's no stars in the game. Bunch of guys that shoot the ball 50 times, but I don't think there's, even the guy on Golden State, I don't know if he's a star. And LeBron, I don't know what to do with that guy. He's a joke. I can only play on your team if I can include my buddies. And hey, come on, everybody, you're on my team now. What the fuck is that? I lost all respect when he started doing that shit. Greg and John, yeah, golf's for older people. Bobby, where are you at the door? Greg and John, what are you writing that for? Don't write that down. What are you, insane? Bobby, you're not here, so I'm saying hello. Don't interrupt the class with that. If Bobby's on, say hello. But if Bobby's not on, what are you doing? See, it just doesn't. The comment makes no sense. It doesn't add any flavor to the conversation. I'm talking football and girls and poker, and you're talking, Bobby, where are you? Jesus Christ. Does that not seem funny to you, Greg and John, that you're saying hi, Bobby, or where are you, Bobby? Are you making a joke, but not a real good time for it? Not when I'm in a groove. So what you're looking for to bet, or you're looking in gold, or you're looking at a woman, or you're looking at poker, is to read and understand. And then you make your move. You're reading the football games. Okay, we got Mahomes. We're reading poker. Well, what do we think he's got? Is he telling us he's got a full house, or does he have nothing? The women, are they looking at me and smiling, or are they looking away? If they're looking away, I probably don't want to say hi to them. The girl who's looking at me and, kind of looks at me, looks away, looks at me, why is she looking? Because she's attracted. Okay, are attracted to her? Yes, then go talk to her. You've got the green light, and then if nothing happens, but you don't set yourself up for rejection. You set yourself up that I'm just going to say hi, which I do to a ton of people every day. And then you go from there. If she says hi back, you want to do something, but then it's still got to be stoic. If she's an idiot and she's a liberal and she doesn't like gold, we're not talking to her anyway. I mean, do you like gold? Yes. Okay, now we can have a conversation. And so you can say hi, or you don't even have to say hi. You say, what do you think about the economy? What do you think about gold? And see if she has a brain in her head. And if she says, oh, I'm in money, or if she says, oh, yeah, I get gold, that's a good thing to do, then we have more of a conversation. Because I only want a conversation with somebody that understands it. Daria understands gold. I told Daria, if I do move there, I'll have to buy a safe. Then I asked her, what do I do with my car if I move there? These are things you never think about. What do you do? So you move to Russia. right? Because they're going to have a gold-backed currency, and they're booming, and Putin looks like a better leader than the idiot we got. It's all corrupt here, so Russia can't be any worse. Taxes are lower. The girls are prettier. So you move to Russia. Well, you got your car. Now, if you have a Ferrari, it's not a problem. Or a $100,000 Mercedes, you're probably taking it with. You got a Camry that I spent 25 on, it's worth about 16. What do? Do I sell it, get the 16, and then go buy a car there? Or maybe I don't need a car. I know in Switzerland, you don't need a car. If you're in Geneva, you just take the tram all the way around for $2 a day. And that's an easy one. If you want to go from Switzerland to Austria, you get on the train or fly. But you don't really need a car there. If you want, you can Uber if you need to. If it's something like going to the grocery store, okay, you try to walk to the grocery store. But here you need a car because the grocery store is 3 miles away and the gym's 6 miles away. And if I want to do anything, it's, I need the car here, but do I need it there? So do I sell it here and pocket the money and not buy a car there? And you got a lot of money we just made by doing nothing. So these are questions you don't know to ask. What do I do with my house? Do I move it or just store it? I got to store my baseball cards. I can't get all those on the plane. I didn't know you were gone, Greg and John. So I bitched to you about, Bobby, where are you at the door? That's ridiculous. What do you, if Bobby's here, talk to him. If he ain't here, we don't need to bring him up. It doesn't add anything to the class. So these are the things. So what you're doing in everything in life is reading it. You're finding the variable to read, though. The girl, it's the smile. Or does she look away from you? If you say hi and the girl doesn't answer and looks away, you probably don't want to keep saying hi unless you're just being very nice. Hey, hi, everybody. Oh, how are you today, miss? That's as far as it goes, because if she's not polite enough to answer, what do you want to say hi to her in the first place for? So you just keep going. Like how I analyzed my coat. I said, well, the last place that I would have taken my coat off and stayed was the library. And that's where the coat was. And it was a week ago. And that's just simple. It's just simple. That's where, it's been 60, 70 degrees here. You didn't need the coat. So I didn't go in the closet to see it. Today, I go in the closet to go to the gym and their coat's not there. And I either left it at the barbecue place, but I think that was a couple weeks ago. The only place that, because if I'm going to the grocery store, I'm not taking my coat off. Only if I go somewhere like the library because I needed the printer, and I take my coat off and I'm doing my resume and I'm doing my insurance cards. That's the only time you're really taking the coat off. So if it's got to be there, or I don't know where else it can be. Sometimes I might walk in with groceries and then put the coat down here, but very, very rarely. Normally I hang it up. So sure enough, it was at the library. But look how I analyzed it. I said, where's the last time I was at? They didn't do it because I don't go out to eat that often because A, it's expensive. B, God knows what they're putting into it. It's terribly unhealthy. So I tend not to. Once in a while, like yesterday I got the Chinese I'll never go back. See, that's the problem with the Chinese. That's why I go to the one I go to, because it's made good. It tastes good. This one tasted, the sauce they used on the sesame chicken. You're not supposed to use that sauce. It's supposed to be sesame seeds that you can see, and not this brown shit on the chicken that God knows what it was. It tasted horrible. The fried rice was terrible. The wonton soup was okay, and the egg roll was fine. And that's why I did it. It's like, when's the last time I had wonton soup and an egg roll and then the fried rice? Because at Chinese, I don't normally get it. At Chinese, I get my General Chow with good sauce, and it comes with broccoli and the sauce is good, and then I get an egg roll, which is good. So that's why I get the consistent. It's good. It's fairly priced good, and everything else, and it's a change of pace. So right now I'll probably cook some chicken. I had a tuna salad for lunch. 5 o'clock. The problem is this tires me out, so I really don't feel like cooking chicken, but I probably can put a chicken in and then have a chicken salad. I got salad at the grocery store, so I could have salad. But anyway, that's what you're trying to read. So I'm trying to read Daria and I'm trying to read Jenna. And when I ask for certain things, if I get the right response, then okay. That's why I get confused, because I'm reading it, and it's sort of like I'm reading. There was a game, Dallas and Frisco, and you go, oh, Dallas Green Bay, and you're like, well, Dallas has this great defense, not much of an offense, and Green Bay's got a good offense. Let's see, what did I do? And then Green Bay scores 40 points on you. What was this? Green Bay, Dallas. Dallas is -7. Green Bay with the 24 defense, Dallas with the 20. Over-under was 50. I bet the over in the game because I knew Green Bay scores a lot and doesn't have much defense. I figured Dallas is going to score. My pick was 31-24 Dallas, which is 55, which covers the 44, and Green Bay wins 48-32. But because I see Dallas's defense isn't that great, and I know Green Bay's isn't, but Green Bay's offense is, I jump on the over, and that's how I read it instead of taking Dallas -1. I don't trust Prescott in a playoff game, and I was rewarded because they lost 48-32. They play an 80 fucking point game, but instead of losing with Dallas -1, I know Green Bay is going to score a lot, so I'm worried there, and I'm worried Dak's going to throw his 3 interceptions, and I play the game over, and I win it. So I turn a loser, Dallas -1, into a winner, Green Bay, Dallas over 44. And that's in the past few years, I would have lost that game. I would have had Dallas -1, and I would have lost. And that's the difference. But the expected outcome I have is that Dallas should win the game because their defense is so strong. And so that's a misread. However, I was okay with it because I switched it to over instead of playing Dallas. So I was able to read that. I did pick the game wrong. I thought Dallas would win. So that's what you do with like Daria and Jenna. You're trying to read it and get the best read you can, and you think, I love you, and you get an I love you back. Now, okay, that's good. I'm reading it properly, right? Now, if you send out an I love you and you don't get anything back, your read's way off, and now you got to double pump and go, whoa, wait a minute. But normally I give them an I love you. I get an I love you back. And they're the guys like the younger girls, and therefore Daria's, in her 30s, and Jenna's in her upper 30s. So, they're starting to feel like, well, these guys don't like me, or I'm not as hot. So they want to be wanted. And, that's part of it. And who doesn't? I want to be wanted too. But that's what you do is you're reading. So you're reading the poker. I think this guy's a bluffer, or I told you that one hand I had pocket kings, and the guy's looking at the TV and he makes a big bet on me looking at the TV, but my spider senses are saying he's bluffing. And I was right, but I folded because he was looking at the TV. But when I looked at the bet and I looked at the board, I said, well, there's no way the guy maybe he hit trips, because there was like 7-8 of diamonds and was preventing me to get the flush. Maybe that's what he was doing. I don't know. But I don't think he'd have bet trips that way. Anyway, so that's you're trying to read what's going to happen. But you're not right 100% of the time. You must understand that. So when people buy my picks and I lose, it's like, well, yeah, but I read it, and I'm not right all the time in my read, but I'm right a hell of a lot more than I'm wrong. And that's the point. And then as I'm reading it, I'm adjusting. That's why I say, give me a couple of weeks and then we'll really nail them. And as you're reading it, you're adjusting. College football is going to be crazy. Well, they have to read Notre Dame and Texas and Michigan, all these teams, the new coaches, the new quarterbacks. You got to read it all, digest it, and then try to figure out what they really are. That's why it takes a few weeks. You can't just Notre Dame. I don't even know who their quarterback is next year. It ain't going to be Hartman. So you're going to have to adjust. The offensive coordinator went. You're going to have to adjust. Their coach stinks, their head coach. So you're really going to be adjusting for what's happening. And that's, and then you come to a conclusion. And what was frustrating with Michigan is that you had no read. They didn't play anybody. They played the first 13 weeks against nobody. Then they finally played Ohio State and beat them by 6, and then you're going, but Ohio State's not that good this year. So you really had no idea on Michigan. Even on the Alabama game, I had them underconfident, and then they beat Washington. And had Michigan really shown that, I would have maybe avoided the Washington loss, but they hadn't shown it. Now, I didn't bet a lot because I didn't really know who Michigan was, but I think I had Washington, and I think I took it over because I trust Michigan, and Washington should have scored more. But that's what you're reading, and you're reading the players, and you're reading the coaches, and you're reading the girls, and you're reading the people playing poker, and you're reading Comex, and you're reading the gold. It's all looking at the minutia, trying to get what you think's happening, and then go from there. You're reading to find out, am I going to take Microsoft stock or Amazon stock? Well, I can analyze the financial statement, but I know the stock market's going to break. So I don't want to be in any stock. And that's where we come up with the Titanic analysis comes in, because we've read it. The ship's sinking because it hit the iceberg. So we're reading the stock market's going to crash because of the high inflation, and the money's being worthless, and people are going to want their money in different countries because there's $130 trillion from other countries with US dollars. That's how much we've inflated. And when that comes back to roost, there's no way out. You have printed yourself to death. But we know that's what's happened, and we know it's coming. So again, we either get off the boat or we stay on the boat and sink. So what do you want to be on the boat while it goes down, or do you want to get off the boat into the lifeboat and go, that's too bad, that boat's sinking. Oh, well. Greg and John, Dallas is okay, decent. Dallas, they just are terrible in the playoffs. They play good in the regular season. TK, you don't like girls from USA? No, I don't. You're like 99% in picks. I'm about 75%. Or don't take a submarine to the sea to look for the Titanic. Don't know what you mean there. But basically, you're reading things, so you know the dollar's going to crash. You read it. So then once you read it, what do you do with it? That's really what people lack, is they might see it, but then what do they do with it? So you've got to see the other end of it. The dollar goes out. What do we do? That was my first question to myself. I saw Biden inflating $10 trillion here and there. I said, well, that's inflation, because I knew it's printing the money, not prices. I go, that's massive inflation. I got to get out of the dollar. And then I realized, but I can't go Swiss francs, British pounds, or euros, because they're doing the same fucking thing. So then you recognize George Soros is behind it, but what are you going to do with it? And then you say, there is no currency to go into. And then you start thinking, what's my out? Well, my out's real assets, and the best real asset you can have is gold and silver. So that gets you into gold and silver and out of dollars. So then you're like, I don't want to touch the paper. I don't want to touch stocks. I don't want to touch bonds. I don't want my money in the bank, because you realize it's all going to go to zero. And then you realize you're only out as gold and silver because they can't inflate it. They can't print it. So once you understand everything, it's a very simple thing. Now, it took me a while to figure it out. But once I figured it out, then I become stoic and say, you're not getting me off of gold and silver. I'm never getting in anything with the dollars or the banks or stocks or annuities. And there's no way in hell I'm getting into Bitcoin. So I study Bitcoin and I see there's nothing to it. There's nothing, it's not real. So I don't want anything to do with it. I'm the best. Well, I believe me, there's about 5 people that can do what I do. So with that said, that's how you're analyzing. And then you understand what you're analyzing and you go from there. And that's how you win. You have to understand. So when Greg or John, or when Eric said, "Oh, I got this something with college basketball," dude, I've already looked at everything, right? Just like I looked at where do I take my money, and I looked at the British pound and the franc, and I realized it's only gold and silver. That's it. And that's why when I hear these idiots on YouTube, the Rick Rudes and the Peter Schiffs and all those guys, I know they're full of shit, because they're all looking at a chart of paper gold. Well, look at the chart. The chart's a teacup and it's ready to go. It's all meaningless. It's all paper. We're not using paper. We want physical, and you have no chart for physical gold because it's never been charted. I can do a chart on my homes and on Mantle and on those, knowing what should happen, and use that to get to the gold and silver. But knowing what's going to happen. And that's the key. I know what's going to happen. So then it's just, I'm not surprised at all. Just like I know Mahomes is going to win the Super Bowl. He wins it. I'm not. That's what I thought would happen. So I don't care that they went to overtime to win it or not. I had KC in 8. I was winning the whole game. So not concerned. And same thing, I got gold and silver. There's no concern. I know I'm going to win that game. I know the dollar's going out. Well, no matter what, inflation's back to 3%. No, it isn't. They don't even know how to look at it. They're looking at prices. So most of the people are so stupid, they don't even understand what to look at, what the rules are for inflation. So what have we said? Football, it's Mahomes, Pacheco, Kelsey, and a good defense. What do we got with money? The more you print, the less it's worth. You're inflating is printing. You're inflating the money supply, making it worth less. Period. Prices are, it costs, because it takes more money to buy the item. Like gold took $37, now it takes $2,035, really $2,100 with premium to buy the gold. Therefore, it's not the gold. It's that it takes more dollars because they're worth less and less and less. So you got to understand that. That's the inflation, not prices. Not that gold's $2,035. It's just it takes $2,035 to buy it, and it takes $3 to buy a 2-liter Coke. That's the inflation. You're killing the money. So to buy something, it takes more dollars to buy it. The cost isn't going up at all. The cost on gold didn't go up to $2,035. That's how much the dollar was beaten up. I was just mentioning the submerger that went to look for the Titanic remains. It was not a stoic decision. I don't know much about that, but that's okay. What was I looking at? Oh, I wanted to see. Gold's up to 2044, up $10 today. Silver's 2067. But we know the end is it's going to be 20,000. Silver will be 2 or 3. So we don't listen to the noise because we know COMEX is still behind it. So I made my balance transfer today. So let's see. So if I go into my Wells Fargo account, I should see something on it. So far, I'm a little scared about scams because this was in my email. I went on to the site and I didn't see this offer. But when it took me, it did say Wells Fargo. In the email, it says Wells Fargo on the top. And I saw my screen and I entered my password. Well, I don't see it. But it might take a day. Anyway, that's where gold's at, 2050 before. So we don't get nervous because we know it's going to 20, 30,000 an ounce. And it's just, it's like we knew Mahomes is going to beat Baltimore, let's say. So we're not worried about in the second quarter the score. We start paying attention midway through the fourth, and you can see they're up 17-7, and you're going, okay, we're going to win. That's what you're looking at. So you don't look at the first quarter and go, oh, my God, it's 7-7 or something. And that's what I'm trying to tell you. Don't look at gold now. It's second quarter or third inning or something. Just wait till the game's going on. Well, gold's really not because this is paper COMEX. This is not physical. So there's apples and oranges. There's physical gold and there's paper gold. So the paper gold's going up. And this is the problem I have with all these idiots. They don't differentiate. They don't understand there's paper and physical gold. And they'll look at a chart of paper gold and they'll go, well, look, in 2008, it was this way. And now it's this way and it's that way. But it's all paper. You're looking at paper derivative gold. We're talking about physical gold. So yeah, paper gold maybe doesn't get the 2,200. We don't care about that. What we care about is physical gold that the Russians and Chinese and India are using for their gold-backed currency that is going to drive the price up. So right away, we're differentiating paper from physical, but these guys aren't. These guys show a chart of physical, and I'm like, who gives a fuck? That doesn't show anything. I mean, because the paper's going away. We're moving to physical gold. That's what the whole brics thing is. So you just sit there and you just like roll your eyes and, as Bobby would say, shake my head. And you go, what the fuck? Nobody cares about that. I'm surprised it's not gone up yet to 30 grand. Well, don't be surprised. If the U.S. is fighting to keep it down, because when it does, nobody will be in the dollar. And then their little Ponzi schemes all over because Wall Street's gone, the banks are gone, the U.S. dollar's gone. And so they're struggling. It's like a tug of war. They're struggling to keep the rope, in play. But all the Russians and Chinese have firm control of the rope and pulling you across. So while the game's not over, it's as good as we know that's where it's heading because we'll get physical gold from brics. That's the whole key to it. And you'll say, well, it's never been there because it's never been physical. That's the point of silver. Well, it's never been over 50. Paper gold, but physical gold's never been priced. And Wait till they get a load when physical silver and physical gold start coming out. Then you'll see the big price. And that's what I keep saying. So I'm at that level, like I am in football, that I've realized there's paper and physical gold. I realize it's Mahomes, Pacheco, and a good defense. I've analyzed that our only out is gold. So I'm always 3-4 steps ahead, but I'm very good at understanding what we're playing with. And don't play me in poker because you know I'll kill you. You understand what the bet is. As I said, I was watching Cincinnati Kid again. I'm afraid it's going to go away because it's the end of the month. And it's the same thing. He's got to factor in, he could have the jack of diamonds. So at the end, he gets a straight flush, and he has a full house, and he loses the full house of the straight flush because he forgot to play the other guy's hand. He played his hand, says, I got a full house. But he didn't look at the guy. Well, wait, if he has the jack of diamonds, I'm fucked. So I shouldn't bet everything on the jack of diamonds. I should have bet everything 3 hands ago when he says, I don't think you have a flush. He should have made a big bet. Not 1,000. He should have bet 5,000. And when he hit trips, he should have had a bigger bet in the straight. He should be betting very big because this guy just calls. This guy's a calling. I got to see that you have the flush. So he doesn't raise, but he calls a lot. And that's what Steve McQueen should not have raised, because if he has the jack of diamonds, you're fucked. So be careful. And that's what you got to do. The biggest lesson I learned in Hold'em is let's say I got a flush and there's 2 9s on the board, right? So there's 3 clubs and 2 9s on the board. One of the 9s could be a club, but there's 3 clubs, right? And I got this flush. There's 2 9s. He bets. Do I want to raise him? If he's got a 9 and a king, he's got a full house. He's got me beat. What is he in with? Does he have a flush 2? Is he stupid and he's got 2 pair? Or maybe he's got 3 9s and nothing else. Then it would be the bet. So I'm going to bet $50. If he comes over the top and raises me, he's got the full house. If he just has the trip 9s or 2 pair, he's going to call because I could have the flush. So he's not going to go and bet more. And so then you bet 100, he makes it 500. He's got a full house because he's not doing it because he'll want to see your hand. If he's got 3 9s or 2 pair, he knows you've got the flush. You made a big bet. He wants to see it. So he's not going to make a big bet to get you out. He wants you to call because he's got you. So it's a lot of logic in poker that makes sense. He goes all in, he's bluffing because he wants you to fold. But if he just makes a little bit of a bet, he wants you to call. If he wants you to call, it's because he's got a good hand. So, of course, he wants you to call. The goal is to get as much money out of you each hand. Well, if I go all in, you're not getting any money out of me unless I got you beat. I'm surprised it not. Okay. The world champion is good. Ric Flair is awesome. Okay. So that's what you're really looking at is how does the player play? So in the Cincinnati Kid, the guy kept calling him. It's going to cost you $1,000. Call. It's going to cost you $2,000. Call. I don't believe you have the flush. I'm going to call. He turns over the flush. Those are the hands he should have been making it really big. But he wanted the guy to call to take the money. The problem is he had so much money, you're going to go, you got to, if you're going to do that, then you got to be careful, even though you got a full house. If he needs the jack of diamonds at the end, you're fucked. You got to be careful because you're winning 9 out of 10. So it'd be like me betting all in on one football game. Why would I do that? I go 7, 8 out of 10. What the fuck would I want to go all in for on one game? And then it loses, but I won the other 9. I mean, that's the problem. So he's winning all these hands. Just you checked. He bet $1,000. Just call. You got the jack of diamonds. No, okay, great. I won some more. But the last thing you want to do is lose all your money because he could have the jack of diamonds and you're sitting there going, well, I got a full house, but it doesn't beat a straight flush. So you've got to be leery and not take you got to. He could have the jack of diamonds. I'm checking. I'm not betting. There's no way. I don't care what I got. I could have 4 kings. I ain't betting. He could have 4 aces. He still loses. You shouldn't make the bet because if he's got the jack of diamonds, you're fucked. So you don't bet that hand. There's too much risk that you're taking and you're not getting a reward because if you make a big bet, he's only calling you with the jack of diamonds. He's not calling you with the flush. So you've got to read it the way it is. TK, you ever play the machines? Are they rigged? No, I don't play the machines. And yes, they're all algorithmed and they pay out. I mean, you could win at them, but they pay like 90%. So if $100 goes through a slot machine, the house is going to win, $90 out of the 100 or something like that. The house always wins because the machines are rigged to only pay out part of the money they take in. So, and they're really idiot plays because there's no skill in hitting a switch and watching these things roll, or even video blackjack. I wouldn't do because I do it very carefully because, again, those are rigged. They know what you got and they deal what they need to beat you. So you got to be careful with that. But that's the thing. So when you're playing poker or stuff like that, you must be very careful. So that's why in football, you've got to be careful and figure out, don't let this play beat me. Don't let this defense beat me. You've got to figure out, just like the Cincinnati kid, you know what? Gosh darn it, I got a full house, but he's got 8, 9, 10 queen of diamonds. He got the jack. He beats me. I cannot be aggressive into that hand. I don't care what the odds are. If he gets the jack of diamonds, I lose. I better fucking be. That's not the hand to be aggressive. You have all these other hands. You've got the flush you won. You got trip jacks you won. You got this flush you won. You got 2 pair. You got the full house. Bet those to the moon. But the hand, you've got the nuts, right? In this hand, you don't have the nuts. You should be careful, and he wasn't. So from such a good stud player, he was an idiot. Yeah, I know full house is a good hand, but not against the straight flush. And you've got to anticipate that he could have that. So that's the problem. And you got to be careful because it's not about the one hand. It was a cooler hand. You checked, he bet $1,000, you call the grand, and then you got the jack. Yeah, okay, I lost, but I still have $10,000 in my hand. So you really played that stupidly. Plus, you shouldn't have got the dealer out because the dealers would never have dealt the jack of diamonds. So that was your biggest problem, was getting rid of the dealer. Fuck it, who cares how you win? I want to beat him fairly. Why? He's not fair. He's cheating. He pulls $5,000 out of his pocket. That's not playing fair. So you shouldn't have played him fair. You had the dealer fixing the games. I would have just sat back and let the dealer, let's just pound away at it. And he should have bet more. If he knew the dealer was dealing him from the bottom of the deck, he should have bet a lot more because he's not going to let the guy beat him. So you just said, okay, I'm going to be aggressive. Don't let him beat me. Okay, fine. And then I would have just pounded him. And I would have made big bets. There was that hand. He had trips and he had 2 pair. That's the hand he could have won on. He could have bet him. I raised $3,000 and he would have called because he's a calling station, or $5,000. And you would have picked up the pot. Instead, he folded because he knew the guy was cheating. He was like, fuck it. I mean, so better you lost all your money than cheating to win? I don't know. I wouldn't cheat to win per se. I never have. I'm not a cheater. I can beat you on my talent. But if I'm doing something like that, I might say don't feed me cards, but don't give him the Jack of Diamonds either. Or the last card, make it a club. So this exercise is showing you there's a lot of fixed things out there. Stock market. Stock market should be like eBay. It should be you're bidding, you're buying and selling shares of a company. But it's fake. It's fixed. Carl Malden's dealing under the table, and that's why these 4 or 5 stocks are really big. These 4 or 5 stocks have been going up because they're not being bid. It's fixed. Madoff, fixed. And what we're realizing, a lot of things are fixed. Banks are fixed. The government's fixed. They're printing the money's fixed. So you've got to understand that the game's not being played fairly. And you must take the action against it. Gold is not being played fairly. It's not a physical price. The question is, will the game change or not? Which we believe it will, because of BRICS and Russia and China going to the gold-backed currency should change the game of gold, and it should go up tremendously. And that's why we don't look at a paper price, we look at the physical price. So really, that's the whole goal, is understanding the cheating that's going on. That's why we can't go into euros or Swiss francs or British pounds, is because the cheating going on there is the same as the cheating going on here. All the politicians are all controlled by the banks, because the banks are the ones that put them in, because we somehow fucked up our whole system where now it's about the banks paying the politicians to do what the banks want, because the banks put them in, so the bank gives a lot of money. So Joe Blow wins. Joe Blow now owes the bank whatever the bank wants. And now we don't have a fair game anymore. Now it's fixed. And that's, so if something seems weird, like that one poker hand where the girl calls with Jack 4, that was such cheating. And when it really looks weird, like nobody in the right mind would call an all in with Jack 4. Did it make sense she called? Well, it almost does, because if she played a lot with the guy and knew the guy was was playing like a 9-10 and 7-8 came out, and it's 7-8 9-10 clubs, and then nothing, blanks, she could say, well, he might have been on 7-8 9-10. I got a jack. He's all in, which means he's bluffing, because if he had a hand, he wouldn't. So he's out of draw. So it almost makes sense to call, but I would have answered it like, well, I knew you were bluffing because you went all in, but you don't. See, it's hard because you don't want to tell him his tell. Sort of like in rounders with Teddy S. What is it? The Teddy FSB, where he eats the Oreo cookie and he's got a good hand. So you don't want to tell him that that's his tell. So so you can't really say anything. So she probably got this guy's tell, the cheater in that one, and she knew he couldn't have had a good hand because the way he bet, the all in. So she probably figured the jack's probably good because there's 7-8 on board. So you either got 5-6 or 9-10, and you're betting, hoping the straight or flush hits. And, took the chance. So it looked really funny, but it was probably very legit. She probably knew his tell. And I don't blame her for not saying the tell. I wouldn't, like Daniel Negreanu, his tell is he talks. He's nervous. So I wouldn't tell him, though, if I'm playing with him and he's talking, I just sit there and smile going, okay, this guy's got crap. He's nervous and he's talking. But I'm not going to tell him his tell. And that is a lot of these guys with their tells. The other one is that Phil Locke, he does the same thing, constantly rumbles and bumbles. And when he's person to see, is he going to tell you what he had? He will, but you got to know what to look at to figure out what he's telling you. It could be the eyes, it could be looking at the TV, it could be many different things, but subconsciously he will tell you exactly what he has. My thought is normally it's by the bet. Just like I saw with Cincinnati Kid, he checked with aces and tens to the flush. The guy bets back $1,000. That would have told me he's got the jack of diamonds, because what he's saying is, well, I don't want to call. In other words, put it like this. He's got aces and tens. Wouldn't he be afraid of a full house? So if he hit the ace of diamonds instead of the jack of diamonds, he's got an ace high flush board. You might have a full house. I can't risk it. So as he does, where I'm not convinced you got a flush or the trips, and he calls, it's the same thing here. So I think Cincinnati should have bet 1,000 and then saw what the guy did. Because if he's got the jack, he's going to raise because he wants to win money. And if he doesn't have the jack, he's going to call. So Cincinnati could have lost only $1,000 in that hand if he knew what he was doing. Not even $1,000. Just bet $200. I bet 200 on my full house into your possible straight flush, and let me see how you react to it. And if he reacts, I'm raising you 10 grand. There's no fucking way he's got a flush. He obviously has a straight flush because he'd be afraid of your full house. So he wouldn't raise it. And that's like me when I got pocket aces, and so I bet 25 pre-flop. I get one caller. The board comes, whatever, no aces. And the guy checks, and then I bet only $30, $35. And then if he hits his set, he then raises me. He's check raised me. Right? So if he's check raising me, he knows I got a hand, so he's not bluffing, because I would fold. So why would he bet a big bet and then he'd know I'd fold? And again, I'm watching him. I'm not watching my hand. I know I got aces. Does he have me beat? Well, he's telling me he's got me beat by check raising me. That's telling me I've got you beat. So that's a very clear. I only have to bet 20 or 30. If he hit the set, he's going to raise me because he wants to get money, and then I can fold, because since he checked raised, he obviously has the hand. So it's very obvious by his actions that he had me beat. I didn't do Cincinnati Kid and say, well, I got aces, so I'm gonna raise you all I got because I got aces. And the guy puts in all his money plus $5,000 and says, oh, well, yeah, I got the set of sixes. I mean, you don't need to put all the money in to figure that out just by putting a small bet in. By putting 30 and he check raises me, I know he's got it. Now, if he just calls me, then I also know I got him beat because he's not check raising. It's the check raise that indicates he's got the set, not the amount. Greg, sports can be fixed. Really, Greg or John? I remember a basketball ref bet on a game he reffed. Okay. Pete Rose should be in the Hall even though he bet. Okay. TK, what is your favorite movie? Okay. Luke, hey, Luke, how are you today? Hey, Bitcoin cranking and gold doing jack shit. No, going to Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin at? That's okay. Once COMEX takes over, Bitcoin won't be doing shit. Aces and eights. That's your favorite movie or your favorite poker hand? See, oh, gold was up $10, $15 today. What are you talking about? Gold's 2044. Silver's 2067. It's weird sometimes I don't get it. Okay. 2044, 2267. Let's bring Bitcoin into it. Crypto. Bitcoin price. $61,027. So what's it up? $8,000. Is that today? Must be the last few days. So it went from 51 to 69. So what's your point on that, Luke? Bitcoin was at 15,000 a few months ago, now up 4 times. Had my dollars on gold. Okay. But this is temporary. Would you have, okay, it's at 60. Would you have sold it now? At what point would you sell your Bitcoin? It's at 60. Would you sell it? Probably not, because most of you Bitcoin guys have no concept of quitting a winner. So the fact it's at 60 is just, it's people running into it, but they don't even know what it is. It's just because it goes up. It's a lot of people are getting out of the banks because in March 11th is going to be this whole repo time where the banks are going to get crushed. And so they think Bitcoin's a safe haven. But the problem is, even if they all went into gold, gold wouldn't be moving because it's not priced at a real market. I don't know if the Bitcoin, how they're arriving at the price. Are people buying Bitcoins and that they can keep track of that? And then they know, Ivan bought all these, or Putin bought all these Bitcoins. And so I'm raising the price. I mean, I don't know how it works. Is it like eBay where you're bidding on it? Is it an auction? I hope gold will do the same. Well, we know gold will do the same. The question is, you sold at 42. Okay. So now let's say you didn't sell at 42. Now it's at 60 and a half. Would you be selling it now? That's the real question. I could tell you that it's at 60. It only works if you sell it, right? If you hold it, I won't be selling gold when it hits 60, right? Because it's going to go out. See, and then the other problem is when the dollar collapses, what's Bitcoin worth? So again, the Titanic hit the iceberg. It's the water's coming in and sinking, and you're saying, well, I could have went back to my cabin now. It's look, the boat isn't sinking, and that would have been the problem. Well, you don't have to hope gold. Gold will do the same. Gold, everybody's gonna sell their Bitcoin and buy gold because there's no other option, and Bitcoin's not an option. Bitcoin's not money. It's a stock, basically. So instead of going into Microsoft, they're going into Bitcoin. The question is, when do people sell, or do people watch it go to zero and just say, it's going to go up, it's going to go up? Is 62 a good price? You have no idea. That's the problem with Bitcoin, unless you sell it. Bitcoin will be worth Bitcoin, just like gold. Okay, what is Bitcoin? Bitcoin is not money. It is not, you cannot go to a steakhouse and order a steak and pay in Bitcoin. You can't buy a car or a house with Bitcoin. You can't go to the grocery store with Bitcoin. You can't pay your bills with Bitcoin. What the heck do you mean Bitcoin is Bitcoin? Gold is gold. Gold is money. Everybody will take it. Maybe not officially at this point, but that's where it's headed. But when the dollar goes out, how are you going to value Bitcoin? You don't even know what it's worth. Gold will get to a physical price and we'll know approximately what it's worth, but we know the dollar's worth shit. So we know that's where it's at. So yeah, I mean, Bitcoin can't be priced in Bitcoin because it's not money, basically. There's nothing they can do to make it worth money because it's not acceptable. Can the government say, now Bitcoin is money? No. And Bitcoin's all over the world. It's not US, just like gold's all over the world, not US. But the US dollar is, they're not telling you that that's worth zero. Why isn't the friendly government telling you that, oh, by the way, your dollar's not worth anything? So, no, there is no Bitcoin money. Bitcoin is not worth Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's worth Bitcoin, then why doesn't Bitcoin have a price in Bitcoin? So it's $61,000 or $60,000. What is it in gold? So gold, we know, doesn't need the dollar to have a price because it is money. Bitcoin is not money. It is not acceptable. Bottom line. If the internet goes out, then how much Bitcoin do you have? I got my gold in my hand, so I don't need the internet. There's a lot of problems with Bitcoin. You're just hoping, oh, it really is worth 61. As I said, if you're in Bitcoin, at what point do you sell it? Well, it's the 61. It's going to cost. Do you explain it to me this way, Batman? Why is it up today? $9,000. Why? Do you have any sort of answer? If you do, answer it. I don't think you do because we have no idea. That's the problem with it. I can tell you gold is demanded, and brics, and a gold-backed currency. That's why gold's going up. There's no Bitcoin-backed currency. There is no Bitcoin is not money. At what point do you think Bitcoin, at what point would you sell it at, Luke? Bitcoin is universal like gold and limited. It's not limited. It's valued globally and converted based upon all the fiat currencies globally. TK, the dollar is a dollar worthless except to buy something. The only reason the dollar is worth something is the government forces, like I went to the grocery store, forced Kroger's to take my debit card, which is money to pay for the items, but it's really not worth anything. That's why the thing is, Bitcoin is not a currency. So, okay, so is this a currency? Is my Mahomes card a currency? No, it's an asset that has a value. That's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is an asset that has a value. So it's like if this card's worth 61 grand, are you selling it or holding it? It's the same thing. Bitcoin is not money. It's an asset. But I'm not even sure. It's a digital asset. It's not even a physical asset. This is an asset. This has a value, but this is not money. I can't go anywhere and say, I want to buy a car. I got a Mahomes card. Well, okay, turn it, sell it, and get whatever the medium of exchange is and buy it. Because Bitcoin, we don't know the value of it. We know this value better than we know Bitcoin. And this is only 50. So if you want to tell me Bitcoin's limited, is it 50 count? There's 50 of these. Is there 50 Bitcoins? Bitcoin's not limited because you don't even know that 21 million is the actual number. You're hearing a fairy tale going, oh, it's 21 million. That's limited. It's not limited. Where in God's name is 21 million limited? Really? I don't even think this is limited and it's only 50. You basically is a baseball card. And the question is, at what point do you sell it? And it is not currency, it is not money, just like the Mahomes card is not money. It has a financial value because people are going to bid it and sell it. If I sell it to a bidder, that's the market value of the card, but in no way is it money. Now, if I sell it, I get money and I can use it to pay bills or buy food, which is what you're going to do with Bitcoin. You're going to sell it to get money to buy food, but in nowhere can you go with Bitcoin and buy food or pay your bills with it. I don't know. The dollars were, yeah, Bitcoin is a currency, but it's not a currency. Bitcoin is a stock. Bitcoin's some digital thing. No, we don't even know what it is. TK, he says it's a currency. It's not a currency. Bitcoin has been compared to digital gold. Well, there's no such thing as digital gold, and is accepted probably even more so than gold in the world right now. It competes with gold. No, it doesn't. That's just totally wrong. It is not accepted. It is not digital gold because there's no such thing as digital gold. And it's accepted. Where is it accepted? Take it to a Toyota dealer, buy a car with it. Bullshit, it's accepted. Even more so than gold in the world right now, it competes with gold. It doesn't compete with gold and is not accepted more than gold. Okay, you're getting fantasy on me, Luke. It is not limited. 21 million is not limited, and you can't even tell me there's only 21 million. That's your guess because that's what they said, but it doesn't mean there's 21 million. You can't change the computer algorithm. 21 million Bitcoins max is like year 2100. You don't think they can change the algorithm? What do you think? What do you think that Larry Fink's doing with his ETF and COMEX is doing with the derivative Bitcoin? So what did they do with gold and silver? What did they do? They did derivatives. So they're selling 1 million ounces of gold, even though they only had 1,000 ounces. And that's what they're going to do with COMEX. They're going to sell a million whatever Bitcoins, even though they don't have 1 million Bitcoins. So understand COMEX. I thought you did. They're selling derivatives that are a lot more than they actual physical have. And that's where they're going with Bitcoin. So don't tell me it's digital gold. What's digital gold? What planet are you on that has digital gold? We don't have digital gold. We have physical gold. You either have gold or you don't have gold. Paper gold is not digital. It's paper. It's worthless. We don't price things in paper gold. It's physical gold is what we're trying to get to, is what brics is going to open up to us. But how is brics going to help you with Bitcoin? Don't kid yourself. There's no such currency as Bitcoin. Nobody uses it. It's not accepted. You cannot get paid in it, and you can't spend it anywhere. I mean, I don't know what you're talking, Luke. You don't make sense. It's accepted the same as gold. By whom? Who accepts it the same as gold? No, can't buy a car with gold either. Oh, really? I bet I can. It's like physical gold, very limited. No, physical gold is money. Go check with the Romans. Physical gold is The gold standard is real money. If I have gold, it's real money. And yes, I can buy a car with it. I've been to Toyota and I asked the guy, just like I can buy dinner with my silver at the barbecue place. Give him an ounce of silver, he'll take it for dinner. He won't take Bitcoin because nobody knows the value and he doesn't even know how to take it. So it's not acceptable. To be money, it must be acceptable. It's not. Medium of exchange must be portable, must be scarce, must be divisible. Small exchanges is Bitcoin divisible, must be fungible, the same, replaceable, must be accepted, and must be durable. Is Bitcoin durable? What if the internet goes down? Then what do you got? So Bitcoin is not all six, gold is. That is the medium of exchange. It's what everybody wants. Does everybody want Bitcoin? No, everybody does not want Bitcoin. Does everybody want gold? Absolutely. That's why all these countries are joining BRICS to get onto a BRICS gold-backed currency. But why aren't they? Okay, so let's use your logic. Why aren't they doing a Bitcoin-backed currency? Why aren't central banks buying Bitcoin? Why are they buying gold? So let's play in your world. You're the central banks. You're Russia, China. Why aren't you buying Bitcoin? Why are you buying all this gold up and no Bitcoin if Bitcoin's the same? Why wouldn't you buy Bitcoin? What is trying to say here, TK? I'm confused now. Well, he's trying to convince himself that Bitcoin's real money, which it's not. Bitcoin is some digital thing that really nobody knows because you can't hold it. It's not physical. So had Bitcoin made those coins and they made 21 million of the coins, at least it would have been a little more credible. As I showed you in that gold one, in the gold vault, the guy says the best part of gold is you can hold it. You can't hold Bitcoin. It is not considered money. Only by the Bitcoin people is it considered money. And if it was money, then Russia and China would be buying Bitcoin, not gold. Yet every country buys gold. Every central bank buys gold, not Bitcoin. That's your answer right there, because gold's money and Bitcoin isn't. Luke, it's an easier mean of exchange than gold. It's what Coinbase, Gemini, and other exchanges do. I have no idea what that is. It can be converted or exchanged by the click of a button. To what? TK, are you getting into Bitcoin? No, never. I would never get into Bitcoin. It's a Ponzi scheme. See, I get it because I'm not in it. He's in it, so he wants to keep it to kind of like say, look, it really is real. And it's like, but I'm being judged. I'm not being judged. I'm just being plain vanilla going, no, it's not accepted. It's not durable. We don't know what it is. Reading right out of what the medium of exchange is, what everybody wants. Everybody doesn't want Bitcoin. I don't want it. Bobby doesn't want it. Nobody accepts it because we don't know what the value is. And it's not real. You can't touch it. And if the internet goes down, you're worthless. If you lose your keychain or whatever, the key, your password or ID, whatever it is, you can't get into your account. You can't put it in a safe. You can't spend it. Nobody accepts it. How the hell is it money? So you're ignoring the rule of what money is. It's what everybody wants. It's the most marketable commodity. That's what money is. That's not my answer. That's Austrian economics, the medium of exchange, what everybody wants. That's the definition of money. And you're trying to tell me Bitcoin fits that definition. And I'm like, what are you crazy? How does Bitcoin hit that what everybody wants? How is it a medium of exchange? And you're trying to invent it that it is because it's up and you're all excited it's up. And I'm saying, but what is it? And without dollars, it's nothing. And you're trying to compare it to gold, which is ridiculous. And everybody wants gold. You can give anybody gold, they'll take it. We'll figure out the value once BRICS comes out with the gold-backed currency, and you'll see it go way higher. Eventually, the dollar collapses, Bitcoin collapses because it's in dollars. Gold goes through the roof because now gold becomes the medium of exchange. In what world does Bitcoin become the medium of exchange? It's at best a baseball card. In what world is Mahomes or baseball cards the medium of exchange? In no world. It's an asset like a Picasso. So would you say a Picasso is more money than Bitcoin because everybody would want a Picasso? So if you laid out a Picasso and it's worth $1 million, or I have a Picasso. So let's say this is a real Picasso instead of a cardboard print. All right. Would everybody want it? Yes. Is it limited? Yes. This is more money if this was a real Picasso than Bitcoin, because I can hold it in my hands and everybody wants it. And you keep missing that point. It's got to be what everybody wants. And it's not Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a penny stock at best, or a baseball card. It's a investment, but you don't even know why it went up to 61,000 today. Is pure fantasy. It is, but nobody knows why. Nobody's going to sell it. And when it goes down to 30,000, then what happens? You can't explain why it went down, just like you can't explain why it goes up. So this is the problem. Gold, we all know, because everybody wants it. It's money. Bitcoin is not money. All right. No, I'm never getting into Bitcoin because it's not money. Trust me, I'm a gold bug, but it's frustrating seeing Bitcoin go nuts instead of gold. Well, again, you're missing the point, but all right. Luke, I'm not in it. I understand that much of anything. Just wondering when it's Fold's turn. Yeah, what if the internet goes down? He's just frustrated it's not going up, TK. Well, but we've explained and explained and explained gold's about to go up. Luke, you can't fudge with Bitcoin on the blockchain. It's a true supply-demand thing that can't control. They've tried with ETS, but they ultimately can't if people buy on the blockchain. So you're going to watch these ETFs come out, and COMEX. Why is COMEX on Bitcoin now? Because they are going to do paper derivative, just like they do with gold and silver. Only they're getting out of gold and silver to run to Bitcoin. That's what they're doing. So they think they can make the same money that they've done in gold and silver. Gold, we know, is very limited, right? 250,000 tons. That's it. Not 21 million. And they'll do derivatives for a much, much more than that, even though they don't have it, even though there's no physical. What are they going to do with Bitcoin? There is no physical Bitcoin. So they're going to write a derivative for, 1 billion Bitcoins, and the price is going to drop. And you're going to say, well, there isn't that many. And we say the same thing with gold. There isn't 1 million tons of gold, but they'll write derivatives sinking the price on it. So as I say, and I'll keep saying it, gold's gold, gold's money, gold's what everybody wants. Gold's going to be the medium of exchange as soon as we wipe out the dollar. And then we've got everybody's into gold. And then when it finally goes to a gold-backed currency for BRICS, not a Bitcoin currency, but a gold currency, when that happens, the gold price is going to go through the roof. And once COMEX gets off of gold and stops beating it up, you'll see gold go through the roof. So it's being held down by the same derivatives it's being held down for before. You don't have those derivatives in Bitcoin yet, but it's about to go into a COMEX derivative Bitcoin. So you're going to see the same bullshit in Bitcoin as you see in gold and silver. Again, most people don't understand it, so they're in Bitcoin now, And I bet you $1 million nobody's selling their Bitcoin because they all think it's going to $1 million. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to explain it. You're trying to make a point for it, and I'm saying, but that's not a good point because that's not, from an economic standpoint, what it is. It's not money. It's at best a baseball card, and that's what people don't understand. For somehow they think it's digital gold or money. What's the definition of money? Oh, wait, it's what everybody wants. And not everybody wants Bitcoin. I don't want Bitcoin. I don't want to get paid in Bitcoin. I don't care what it's going for because it's not real. It's all bullshit. I understand that. So would you have thought Madoff was real money? So you got money in Madoff and you're getting paid 10 grand a month from Madoff. Would you have thought that was real? Probably. You would have said, wow, this is great. I'm making $10,000 a month from Madoff. I don't care where he gets the money as long as it hits my account. And that's basically what Bitcoin is. It's just a Ponzi scheme. It's Russian mafia running it, and it's a matter of it has no value. When the dollar goes out, look, all the banks, China and Russia and India are all going to gold. Think about it. Why aren't they going to Bitcoin? If it's everything you say it is, why wouldn't they all be in Bitcoin? It's limited to 21 million because it's not what everybody wants and it's not real money. And Russia can just as easily turn off the internet like they've done, and then it's nobody has any Bitcoin. That would be my biggest concern about Bitcoin, is that Russia turns off the Bitcoin blockchain or whatever it is, and there goes my money. Just like Sam Bankman-Fried, and how about the crypto queen who's selling one coin, only it isn't real. So why do you think coin's real? I don't buy any of it because if I can't put it in my hand, I ain't fucking buying it and I ain't trusting it. I know I got the Mahomes card. It's right here. I don't have Bitcoin. I can't touch it. I don't want anything to do with it. Because to me, I don't know that what is it? It's not real. Nobody will accept it. I can't buy a car with it. Can't buy a house with it. I guarantee you'll be able to buy a house and a car. Look at, you want to buy a house? I'm telling you, you're going to take 1 or 2 ounces of gold and you're going to buy a house. Because when the money goes out and you own a house and you need to eat, and some guy's got gold that you know is money, you're gonna take it, right? So you're gonna walk up to a guy, here's two ounces of gold, he's gonna give you your house. Try doing that with Bitcoin. How would you even do that with Bitcoin? What if he doesn't have a Bitcoin account? If he does have it, then how is he going to get the money? He's going to say, no, you cash in your Bitcoin and give me the money for it. And the problem is there ain't going to be money out there. The only money is going to be is gold and silver. It's going to be the medium of exchange, and it'll be the real money. So just because, here. So let's do this. What would you rather have, Bitcoin or these? Montana's 125 grand and Brady's somewhere about 4 million because there's 10 of them. What would you rather have? Do you think these are money? I'll tell you one thing though. Let's say you bought the Brady card for 4 million. Guess what? You'd have it in your hand. And guess what? If you wanted to buy a $4 million house, you give them the card, you get the house. It's not money, but everybody knows it's a value and you can hold it. Or the Montana card. You want to buy a nice Mercedes for 100 grand. You've got the card in your hand. It's worth 125. You give them the card, you get the car or the house or whatever. What are you going to do with Bitcoin? How do you give it to somebody? I don't have a wallet. You can't give it to me. I don't want it. It's not money. It's not something. But if you give me a Montana rookie card 10 and I see it's 125, or better yet, the Brady card, I know it has a value, right? I know this is the value of these cards. You're giving me the card. I got it in my hand. I don't have to worry about Bank Friedman deleting everything, or the crypto queen saying, "Yeah, you know that one coin, I made it up." There's no makeup here. These are what they are. These are the values now in dollars. I would love to see the Brady, what it's going to be valued in gold, couple ounces anyway, right? 4 million. With the Montana is probably going to be 1 ounce of gold for the Montana card. But the key is you've got it in your hand. You've got the card in your hand. People will accept it. Nobody's going to accept Bitcoin because you don't know what it is, and it's not in your hand. Nobody plays that way. Nobody plays where you've got to put it in the guy's hand and he knows he's got it. That's the way it is. That's the way it's done. Not, well, it's in Bitcoin land. I don't want that. I'm not giving you my house for a Bitcoin. I will give you a house for the Brady or the Montana cards. I do believe gold is ultimate dollars. I look forward to the day gold goes ballistic like Bitcoin. Forget Bitcoin's not real. It would be smart to have them both in this world. Way different than Madoff, Professor. It's a new way of exchange that the world is starting to accept because they can't print more of it. It's set. If you believe that, which I don't, you can trade, exchange Bitcoin peer-to-peer. Doesn't have to be converted back to dollars before you can trade it. Okay, I can trade you I can give you the Brady card for your house. I can give you the Montana card for your car. Okay, I don't have to do that. Oh, by the way, then I've got a Michael Jordan rookie for 500 grand. I can give you the card. I can give you the gold for 2161. How the hell am I giving you a Bitcoin? You're assuming that I have one of these things and I even understand what you're talking about, which I don't, nor do I want to learn it. Right? You can trade, exchange Bitcoin peer-to-peer. I don't know what that means. I don't care what it means. I'm not going to learn it. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's not real because I can't hold it in my hand. That's the battle with Bitcoin. It's not real, and you don't know it's 21 million. What if all of a sudden, this Banker Friedman guy says, no, I got another 21 million. Or this crypto queen, she didn't even have anything. She had this thing called OneCoin, which didn't even exist. And she's selling it to the Russian mafia, cost them billions of dollars. And you know what? There wasn't even a OneCoin. It was all made up. It didn't exist. How do you know Bitcoin exists? You don't, because you don't hold anything. This is the problem with Ponzi scheme. Look at Madoff, and it's not different than Madoff. Madoff was giving you money because he got money from other people. He wasn't investing the money. That's what Madoff did. It wasn't real. That's what Bitcoin is. It's not real. You can't hold it. It's not real. Gold I got in my hands, right? I got the gold. I got the Montana. It's in Marino or Mahomes, whatever his name is. Funny how all the good quarterbacks are in M. I got it in my hand. You can't take it away. Let's go to Attack on Wall Street guy. So he gives the guy 60,000 cash for real estate trust. How does the guy know it went to zero? It's been delisted. How do you prove it? Next thing he knows, your 60,000's gone. Was it really gone? Or did the guy just say it was gone? Maybe it wasn't gone. He doesn't know because he never had it. If he would have bought 60,000 in gold, he opens the bag up. He's got 60,000 in gold, and he goes, Yeah, I got my 60,000 is worth 110,000. This is the game this is the Ponzi scheme of this thing. You don't know what you have. You don't have anything. You have something that you believe is a Bitcoin, which you can't hold, which is a number in a account, which is not real. This is the problem, that you're being Ponzi schemed. You don't know what it is. You see a value. Good luck getting to it. When the banks go out, what are you going to do? So you got a Bitcoin worth $61,000. The dollar's gone. Okay, it went out, which we know is happening right now. We know the dollar's worthless. So you've got Bitcoin. How are you going to get the value out? Oh, to be priced in Bitcoin? Bitcoin's not money. There's nothing. How are you going to get the Bitcoin? In what world are you going to say, you know what, I want to take the 61,000? Okay, how are you going to get it? I'll get it in Bitcoin. There's no such thing. It's an illusion on a computer. It's not real. That's the Ponzi scheme of it. But nobody, no, it's worth. I have something worth $61,000. And when the dollar's gone and you try to get what are you going to get? A Bitcoin, which doesn't exist. This is the problem with the whole Bitcoin digital scenario. And if the US goes to digital and all of a sudden they're going to check the box that says destroy. Oh, sorry, somebody hit a button here and all that digital money is worthless. And everybody's going to be, oh, we're all fucked. George Soros fucked us. We're now going to the concentration camps. We're all going to die because we trusted them that there was digital money. And we're going to be sitting there going, we got gold and silver. Go fuck yourselves. And that's the problem. It is not different than Madoff. It's exactly the same. The world will all agree upon gold and silver. Yes, I know that because it's real and they can hold it. For now, that hasn't happened. Oh, it's happening. This is what we keep trying to teach you, Luke, is all the BRICS countries have gold. All the central banks are buying gold. That you know. I hope you know that. I've been telling you that since 6 months, a year. All the central banks, Argentina, Brazil, England, Russia, Ukraine. Well, I don't know about Ukraine. Russia, Belarus, Poland, Switzerland, they're all buying gold. So at what point are you not understanding that it hasn't happened? It has happened. They are coming out with gold-backed currency. Russia's coming out with gold-backed currency, rubles. They are charging oil for gold. They don't want U.S. worthless dollars. So if you don't get anything, you got to get that the dollar's worthless. Why? Because they printed it to death. So if the dollar's worthless and you have Bitcoin, how are you going to cash it in? You're going to get Bitcoins? Where are you going to get those from? There is no such thing. That's the Ponzi scheme. That's what these people aren't getting. You can say it's worth $61,000 because the dollar's inflated, but at the end of the day, if the dollar's gone, and it will be, then what are you using to get the Bitcoin out? Because there is no Bitcoin. And you're not going to transfer. People don't have Bitcoin accounts. And with only 21 million accounts, and there's what, 8 billion people in the world, there's quite a few people that aren't going to have an account because there's not enough accounts. And since nobody wants to sell it because everybody thinks it's going to $1 million. This is amazing how stupid people are. They will not sell it because they think it's going to keep going up. And we've had a lot of times where something just went up and never went down. Yeah, that happens all the time. It just keeps going up and up and up and never goes down. Yeah, I see that all the time. I mean, it's just, I can't believe how stupid people are. Okay, good. It's at 60,000 or whatever. 60,000 what? So I'm giving you, here's a Jordan card worth 500,000. What would you rather have? The Jordan card at 500,000 or the Bitcoin at 60,000 that you don't even know what it is? I'll take this. I'll take this all day. I'll take the Jordan card worth 500 grand. I'll take my Montana card at 125 grand. At least I know what I have, and I have the card. You don't have a Bitcoin. There is no Bitcoin to give you. So you think, what, it's in my wallet, and it says, well, whoops, it's not priced in dollars anymore. It's priced in what? Gold? Are they going to switch it to gold? That would be the only way I would ever buy Bitcoin, is if it was priced in gold. Then I would know what it is, but fuck it, I'd rather have the gold because I have the gold. You always want physical. That's why they're saying don't use ETFs. Don't buy gold stocks. Don't buy derivatives. You want physical. How much physical do you own? And that's why they say it. And that's the point. So here you've got, at least physically, you got the Montana card or the Jordan card. What do you physically have with Bitcoin? And you can't get it. So this is the big problem. So it's now, I mean, think logically here. You've got it, it's worth $60,000. Dollars is out. What's it worth? Bitcoin's not money as much as you want it to be money. It's digital gold as much as you want it to be digital gold. The only digital, there is no such thing. The only gold is gold that is, pretending this is gold, is the gold that you have in your hand. That's the only gold there is the gold that came out of the ground that you have in your hand. And all the central banks have the James Bond brics, right? That's it. So you've got to really understand and use logic here that there is no such thing as Bitcoin. It's a Ponzi scheme. It doesn't exist. You can't, once the dollar goes out, which we all know it's being printed to zero. That's the Ponzi scheme. You think it's worth 61,000. You don't know how lucky you are that you got out at 42 and you bought gold with it. You have no idea how lucky you are. You're looking at it today. Let's look at it in 3 or 4 months. When gold hits 20,000, I don't know where Bitcoin's going to be when JP Morgan gets a hold on the derivatives. But at what point is when the dollar goes out, are you going to get a Bitcoin? That doesn't exist. Well, it's digital. Okay, digital what? Okay, I want a Bitcoin. Good luck. How are you going to find it? Answer that question for me, and then we can move on. But this is what you're not getting, and this is what most people aren't getting. It ain't money. It ain't gold. And when the dollar goes out, it has no value. Just like your house. When the dollar goes out, your house has no value. So think about that one. So let's say you're in a $500,000 house, $5,000, the dollar's zero, 500,000 times zero, your house is worth zero. Because how can you have a value? There is no dollar to value it. Then you got to wait for gold to come. So is Bitcoin going to then get priced in gold, even though you think it's digital gold? And that's probably the only choice that could save Bitcoin, is it gets priced in gold. How ironic that gold would save Bitcoin, right? And that will make gold even worth more, right? So, okay, gold 60,000 an ounce, your Bitcoin's now worth 1 ounce of gold. And now you want your ounce of gold. How do you get the ounce of gold? Well, I'm going to sell my Bitcoin to whom and get my 1 ounce of gold. Who's going to buy? Who would rather have Bitcoin than gold? Nobody. Why would anybody? I wouldn't sell you my gold for Bitcoin. I'll sell it to you for this Tom Brady card or the Montana card or the Michael Jordan, but I don't want Bitcoin for it. So these are all the fantasies of Bitcoin that they bullshit you. It's limited. 21 million is not limited. I got a 50 count, and I don't think this is limited. I got a 101 Iserman. That's limited. There's only one of them. 50s, I don't think limited. 21 million is nowhere near limited. If it was, then why is this 50 and not 21 million, right? This would say 21 million, yeah, 500,000 Mahomes. See, look how limited it is. I live in the sports car world. 21 million is not limited. So, I mean, that's the thing. I would much rather have gold or Mahomes card than Bitcoin because I have it in my hand and it's worth value. And this will get valued in gold. So let's say this is $5,000. This will turn into a 1 ounce of silver. 1 ounce of silver is worth the Mahomes card. Okay, here's the Mahomes card. Give me the ounce of silver. That we can do. Your Bitcoin, I don't want because it doesn't exist. And so people got to think clearly what it is. It's not real. It's a code. How can it be real? So that's the problem. And everybody's running around buying it, not understanding the dollar is going to go to zero very, very soon, especially when brics says, you know what, we're going to come out gold backed currency, not Bitcoin backed currency, gold backed currency. There goes the dollar. It's gone because everybody wants gold backed currency, not Bitcoin, gold backed currency everywhere, right? 40 countries want to join brics. There's already 10. 40 more want to join because they want to get out of the dollar. How much longer do you think the dollar has? Like I told you, I can't, if I put this up for auction and I get 0 bids, it's worth 0. If I get 10, it's worth 10. If I get a bid for 10,000, it's worth 10,000. In the marketplace determines the value. If nobody wants the dollar, it's worthless. If it's worthless, you can say I bought it for $1,000. Well, nobody will buy it from you, so it's worthless. Might be worth 1,000 to you, but to anybody else, it's worthless. Just like your house, it's there is no dollars to buy it, so then it becomes valued in gold. And to tell you the truth, how much gold really is out there, and if the banks have all the brics of gold, I assume they'll start shaving it down into coins, ounces, and then selling it. So when it hits 30, 40,000, you're going to see the banks start turning it into ounces, Switzerland, and then selling those for 30,000. But it's like just stay with me in economics. It's got to be real for it to be worth something. And I mean, at least Madoff gave you dollars. He put $1,000 or $5,000 into your account. You actually got dollars from Madoff. This is far worse because you're not getting anything from Madoff. You're not getting anything from anybody. There is nothing that you have. That's the key point here. You have nothing. There's no such thing as a Bitcoin. It's an illusion. It's basically a Ponzi scheme. Oh, it's digital. It's in my wallet. See, I can see it. Okay. What are you going to do with it? Oh, it's worth $61,000. Oh, yeah, because they're inflating the shit out of the dollar. Wait till the dollar goes out. What's it worth? Well, it's worth a Bitcoin. What's that worth? And how do I get me one of those? Well, there isn't any. What a scam. I'm glad I saw right through it right away. I said, it's not money. So I never got into it. It's a Ponzi scheme. Exactly, Barry John. The world will all agree upon gold, and soon. For now, that hasn't happened. Jeff Bezos is buying Bitcoin, TK. He must know something. Let him buy Bitcoin. What does he know, Greg John? Why does he know something? Because he's got money. You think he knows something? You think because people have a lot of money, they know something? You think Warren Buffett knows something? You know how much Bitcoin he has? 0. You know how much gold he has? 0. What the fuck does Warren Buffett know? Nothing. He's an idiot. Gates, no gold. Zuckerberg, no gold. These guys are idiots. I guarantee you, check Jeff Bezos for gold. Probably 0. He's buying Bitcoin. Well, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's an idiot. Again, just because they're rich doesn't mean they're smart. There's a big difference. I don't have $1 billion. Am I an idiot because I don't have money? No. That's the wrong conclusion if that's what you're saying. And I don't care that. See, I'm going to stay stoic here, and I'm going to tell Jeff Bezos to fuck off. I don't care he has it. It's not going to convince me to buy it. Luke's not going to convince me that it's real. That's the point of it. I know what I know, and I know it's bullshit, and that's the thing. Read my above post. For now, that hasn't happened. The world will all agree upon gold, and soon. The world's already agreed on gold. You can trade, exchange Bitcoin peer-to-peer. I don't know what that means. Doesn't have to be converted back to dollars before you can trade it. What's the point of it? What are you going to do with it? You're going to buy a car with it? If you trade it to Greg John, can he buy a car with it? No. Are the car dealerships going to accept it? No, because nobody knows what the real value is, and then nobody will be able to get it. So I don't get you. Way different than Madoff. No, it's exactly the same as Madoff. It's a new way of exchange that the world is starting to accept. I disagree with you because they can't print more of it. We don't know that. We don't know it's set. You don't know anything about it. There's no serial number. There's no coin. There isn't even a coin. I at least have this. In Bitcoin world, I don't have anything. You don't know it's set at 21 million. Believe me, after Larry Fink gets done with it, there'll be 200 million. The one I posted twice. Hey, Greg and John, that's funny. I'm not in it much of anything. You can't fudge with Bitcoin on blockchain. It's a supply-demand thing that can't get controlled. They'll try with ETS, but, well, we don't know that. I mean, you don't know anything about it because it's not real. You have no idea that you can't fudge with Bitcoin on the blockchain. We don't even know what a blockchain is. You don't know that you can't fudge it. If somebody created the blockchain, they can certainly fudge it. Why would you think they can't? As I said, Bankman-Fried did. And as I said, this crypto queen developed one coin that doesn't even exist and sold $16 billion to the Russians. And that's why she's hiding out. So don't tell me what can and can't be done. And you sit there thinking that you know what's going on. You don't. None of us do because it's a Ponzi scheme. They'll try with ETS, but they'll ultimately can if people buy on the blockchain. Believe me, they're doing it to gold and silver on the ETFs. They're coming up with 1,000 times to 1. So for 1 ounce of gold, they're printing 1,000 ETFs. They don't need the physical gold. At least gold's physical. So what you're saying there, is not real because that's what Larry Fink does. He's a fucking scammer. So if you can trust him, good luck. I wouldn't. Bitcoin was simply developed. What does that mean? Bitcoin was simply developed. What's the answer? What's the question? What do you like, the Riddler? Bitcoin was simply developed. Am I going to get a little card like in the Batman that I got to read and see what that means? It's computer program. It's not simply developed. It's a bunch of bullshit. It's a Ponzi scheme. You don't know anything about it because you can't touch it and feel it. It can't because it's not numbered. If Bitcoin was real, you'd get coins and it'd be numbered out of 50, and there'd be 10 different types of it numbered out of 50 or something like that. Then I would trust it. Why are there cards then? Why aren't they digital? Why is this printed out versus digital? They tried doing digital cards. They were all Ponzi schemes. So they don't do it. I would much rather have the card than a digital card. There was digital dogs, I think, or monkeys. That was all bullshit where somebody had bought it from one guy for $5 million. And then the guy gave him the money back under the table. So you actually thought it's worth $5 million and it was worth nothing. That I posted twice. Did you skip? No, I read every one you posted. The world will all agree. The world is enough. We'll all agree upon gold. It's already agreed on gold. Just the U.S. is fucking around. I didn't skip it. It might not have come up. I read all your Lukes, unless it was way, way, way in the beginning, which I'm not going to scroll up to. But I'm giving you reality. If you gave me a Bitcoin now, I don't know how I would sell it and get 61,000. But if I was in Bitcoin, I would be selling it as fast as I can right now for 61 grand. That would be done. It would be sold so fast your head would swim. If you honestly, it's like we're at roulette and Red's hit 8 times in a row, and you're saying, well, Red's going to keep hitting for another 1,000 times. And I'd be laughing my ass off going, no, it's not how it works. That's what people are believing, that Red's going to keep hitting until, we're going to make $1 million because Red's going to keep hitting on roulette. Black will never hit. And I'm like hysterical. I'm on the floor, hysterical, going, and you guys are out of your fucking minds. So don't think it's going to go. But believe me, if you had a brain in your head, not you, Luke, but just general, if it went up this much, I'd be selling it and out the door going, thank you, and let me go to the gold store. Because that I don't have to worry about being fucked around with. Because I trust the Russians and Chinese. Luke, send it again, sir. Greg John, stop calling people sir. This is a very relaxed class. But anyway, this is what you have to understand. It's not real. That's the problem. I can't copy on this. We'll just write it over. How much did you write? Well, gold's going to go ballistic. It's not if, it's when. And like I'm saying, you've got to get. I would have the way I am. If I had a stock, I'm selling my stock. I'm selling my gold stock. Let's say it's at 27 and it hits 28, and I got 1,000 shares. I'm selling it because I know eventually it's going to go way down. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. Eventually, it's going to be worthless. But you don't want to hear that. But people are like, "Oh no, it'll keep going up." Why did it go up today? I don't know. Supply and demand, based on what? Who's keeping track of supply and demand? So no, it's not supply and demand. It's the Russian mafia controlling it because they want the price to go up so they can buy more gold and silver. Okay, I got it. What do these billionaires do with the money? Blow it mostly. They buy boats and houses and nothing. They don't know what to do with it, but they don't turn it into gold and silver, and all their money that's in paper. So Jeff Bezos has $1 billion of this. It's going to be worth zero. And Warren Buffett and Gates and all these idiots that are holding this money are going to watch it go to zero. Only the smart who turn it into gold and silver are going to still be alive. And it ain't going to be Bezos. What you going to do with Bitcoin? Okay, Bitcoin. You got Bitcoin. It's not gold. What an idiot. So what, he thinks because the ETF is out that now it's worth something? No, it's still not worth anything because it's still not it's not money. You're not gonna price it in gold and silver like gold and silver. Gold and silver is money. Bitcoin isn't. I'm gonna have a nice laugh when Bezos goes to zero. So you think he bought it, huh? Jeff is buying Bitcoin. All right, Greg and John, are you sure of this, or are you just reading an article that says he might buy it or he sold some stock? It's amazing how these guys just don't trust gold. That's the amazing part. I'm buying Bitcoin. Okay, Bezos, are the central banks buying Bitcoin? No. Is Russia, China buying Bitcoin? No. India? No. Saudi Arabia, are they selling oil for Bitcoin? No. Okay, then what the fuck are you doing? Look at what's happening. The central banks, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, are buying gold and silver. Maybe you should buy gold and silver, not Bitcoin. What a fucking idiot. Tesla owns Bitcoin in their portfolio. No, they don't. They sold it all. And they will not accept Bitcoin for their cars. Ask yourself why. So they used to. Tesla did it for like 2 days. He said, oh, we'll sell the car in Bitcoin. And then the Bitcoin price fell. And he said, you know what? We're not going to take Bitcoin for cars. You can't buy a car with Bitcoin. It means it's not money. That's the most obvious. But read the one before. I can't copy on this. Read the Bitcoin was simply developed. That I posted twice. Read my post. Laugh out loud. No, Bitcoin was simply developed. I give Luke. Just type it up. Bitcoin was simply developed. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Okay, it's a computer program. What do you? It's an algorithm or something. I don't know. I don't care. It's not money. It's not real. Because at the end of the day, when the dollar goes out, how are you going to collect on it? What's its value going to be? And how are you going to possibly get paid out of it? I can give you the Mahomes card because I actually have it. I can give you gold and silver because I actually have it. How am I going to give you a Bitcoin when it doesn't exist? You're going to go to the bank that doesn't exist because it's been plowed under by March 11th's repos. Yeah, I'm at Wells Fargo. I would like to trade in my Bitcoin for. Oh wait, we don't have money anymore. Just give me. What are you gonna get for the Bitcoin? This is getting funnier and funnier. What are you gonna get for it? Yeah, I'm going to the teller. I have a Bitcoin, miss. She's gonna start laughing, going, "Yeah, what do you want for it?" I don't know. I was told it would have a value in Bitcoin. Well, sorry, Sonny, I don't know what Bitcoin is, and I don't have money. So unless you have gold and silver, you're pretty much fucked. How about a Mahomes card? Can I get a Mahomes card for my Bitcoin? Read it. Read what? The Bitcoin was simply developed. Okay. Read my above post. Okay. The world with all agree upon gold and soon. Yes, I agree with that. Now you're getting it. So a lot of people are about to be Ponzi schemed and made off with Bitcoin. Just like OneCoin, it didn't exist. She says there isn't any, and the Russian mafia are after her for $16 billion that she scammed out of them, or Bankman Friedman, the Anvil, who stole everybody's money. And somehow we are going to ignore that because Bitcoin's real, because Stone Cold said so. All right, so does Stone Cold and The Rock own Bitcoin? That's going to be my homework assignment. You tell me how much Bitcoin Stone Cold and The Rock own. And I bet it's zero. Or even McMahon. We'll make it easy. How much does Vince McMahon own Bitcoin? You got to be out of your mind to own any of it. And when it went up today, you got to be out of your mind not to sell it. Only an idiot would hold it, right? Because red's going to hit on the roulette wheel 1,000 times in a row. It's just going to keep hitting, because I live in a fantasy world where red keeps hitting. How does the value of Bitcoin go up? I don't know. I think it's some Russian mafia that control the price of it. Okay, I want to trust those guys. So it's pretty scary how stupid people are. Digital gold. I mean, come on, man. There isn't even real digital gold. The gold's gold. Gold's physical. Gold you got in your hands. That's gold. That's it. That's all there is. There's no physical. There's no digital gold. It's physical gold. That's why the banks have gold bars, 400-ounce gold bars in Putin's swimming pool and in China and in India. And all the central banks and BRICS have fucking physical gold bars. I wonder why. The only thing that's actually worth something. So the whole world has gone gold. It's just taking a few minutes to go. It's like the Titanic, Luke. You always get me on that. It's sinking. We're seeing the water go in, but you got to wait till the water sinks it. The dollar's gone. You just got to wait till it gets sunk. And that's what we're waiting. So we're on our boat, our gold boat, and we got our little champagne glasses out. We got our feet up on the deck, and we got our cigars out, and we're just waiting, watching the. It's basically what we're doing. Read it was the night before Christmas. Anyway, so a very logical discussion, but again, if you can't put it in your hand, you don't have anything. There's no such thing as a digital Picasso. You either have the Picasso or you don't have the Picasso. There's no digital. Nobody's putting digital on the wall. That's the whole fun of having a Picasso. Look, I got it on my wall, like my Van Gogh over here to the left, like right there. The blue one, that's a Van Gogh. Well, it's not a real Van Gogh. It's a poster Van Gogh, but I want it on the wall. I don't want it digitally. I don't want my money digital. People are so stupid. God. How about digital food? How would that work? Let's have digital tuna fish for dinner. Jesus. Oh, my God. Where's Bobby Bo when you need him? Bobby, come on. All right, I'm going to go eat. When you guys can figure out how Bitcoin goes up and down, and don't tell me it's supply and demand, because that doesn't make gold go up and down until we get rid of COMEX. And then when Bitcoin goes COMEX, then we'll really see price action down to about 10,000. Because we know how JP Morgan loves to fuck around with everybody with his COMEX. I think I'll watch Attack on Wall Street again. It always cheers me up when he kills all the guys. Read the post, Professor, above, please. What post? Just put it out there. Type it again. I don't know what you want. I read all your posts. I went right down the list. I read them all, but I'm not going back. I've read from the world with all agree upon gold and down all the way to your last one. That's it. I don't see it. I don't see anything else. Tesla owns Bitcoin. I can't copy. Read the Bitcoin was simply developed. Then I posted twice and you skipped. I didn't skip it. It probably doesn't show on here because you just posted it again. I still don't see it. The one I posted twice, I don't see it. So Bitcoin was simply developed. Yeah, okay. I don't know what that means. It was simply developed. If you believe that, I got some oceanfront property in Detroit for you. You're leading into things that you don't. All right, I'm going to go eat. I've had enough of this battle. Print it up for tomorrow, but I'm not going to go through a million things to read it. So be careful. March 11th is when the repo day is, and be careful there. Try not to watch any of these bozos out there. They still think inflation is prices. So how you can't even listen to any of them because they're all idiots, or they look at gold and it's paper gold and they think it's physical. So they think prices are inflation and they are looking at the paper gold graphs, you're dealing with a bunch of idiots. Rick Rule told me what to do. Good. Robert Kawasaki, I learned from. They asked him a simple question, and he starts going back into, I bought silver in 1964 silver. What does that got to do with this? The price manipulated. You don't even know what a fucking manipulation is. Yeah, it's manipulated by COMEX. That's why the price is not going up. Fucking idiots. God. Anyway, that's it. I'm off to watch wrestling. Bitcoin was simply developed. Okay, whatever. I don't care. All right. Have a nice night. www.teaserking.com. I'll try to be on earlier tomorrow. I think I have to run to the bank on my way to swim to make sure I got rent covered. I could do that Saturday, but I don't know how the second day works. The second day of the month is when my rent hits. And even though it's due the first, it doesn't hit. But because it's a Saturday, I'm not sure it's going to hit. But I'm going to go tomorrow. But otherwise, I should try to be here by about 1:30. Try to do class. But very interesting. Anyway, I'll keep an eye out on what the fuck's going on. But just buy your gold and silver as much as you can now before you can't get it. And before BRICS goes, I don't know what's going on in Ukraine. Now NATO wants to fight the Russians. I love how the U.S. gets into a war and doesn't use their own troops. We're going to have the Ukrainians fight Hitler, and the Poles will fight Hitler. We're not going to go fight Hitler. I mean, it's like crazy. All right. Have a good night, everybody. www.teaserking.com. Stay out of Bitcoin. It's a Ponzi scheme. Only what you can actually hold should you buy, and that's gold and silver and the occasional Mahomes and Brady cards. All right, everybody. Have a nice night. I will see you tomorrow. Take care.